All right. Welcome in and welcome to Tales of Winternacht and the Tale of Cybil Spear, our primary actual play D&D 5e campaign. Tonight we bring you Book 3, Chapter 25. I'm Silver, and I'll be your storyteller this evening. With me are our players AJ, Conrad, Jeff, Dustin, Saga, and special guest Ollie. Ernie is on his way. He'll be joining us a little bit late, but should be here in the next 10-15 minutes, something around there. um, Barring any unforeseen circumstances. Knock on wood, we should be good. All right. For those of you tuning in for the first time, or if you've missed a session, I'd like to encourage you to check out previous sessions on our YouTube channel. We also like to direct you to our Discord server and Instagram, join our community, interact with us. Links to all of those can be found in the About section of the Twitch channel. I want to thank Smiteworks for Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice, Sirenscape for amazing ambiance, sound effects, and music, Discord for our voice and video, and Wizards of the Coast for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, the game we play. Tales of Winternacht is not sponsored by, nor are we an official representative of any of these companies, and the views and statements made during our game do not in any way represent those of the companies until they tell us otherwise. With all of that, tonight we're going to continue our current giveaway. So if you're out there watching, we're looking to try and get to 110 followers. Just a modest little uptick, but we appreciate everybody who helps us towards that goal, and so we'd like to do a little giveaway. So upon reaching the 110 followers, we're sitting at 105 right now. We did pick up one since opening rolls started tonight. So when we hit the 110, we'll give away a set of stickers featuring the art of our party characters made by our very own and very talented AJ, who is modeling them right now. Same rules as before. To enter the giveaway, redeem 100 channel points, activate the enter giveaway option, and then join our Discord. Everyone eligible can enter once per stream and accumulate multiple entries until we reach the 110 followers, at which time we will choose one entry as a winner. If you're chosen as a winner of the giveaway, you'll be contacted on Discord to get your mailing address so we can send you your lovely stickers. Previously, on the tale of Cybil Spear. Cybil Spear, once a band of strangers, has been forged into an unbreakable force by trials and hardship. Now the greatest challenge looms: Kurzarath the Dreamer, an enigmatic, that's just a horrible choice of words, an otherworldly entity that once entrapped them and their loved ones in a realm beyond reason. The journey has led them to Torslin, the icy homeland of their barbarian companion Jofridir. Arriving in the port city of Riyab, they reunited with Jofridir's beloved Aliona before setting out for his birthplace Snodeskull, only to find it in ruins. The village had been devastated, its people either slain or vanished, leaving only frightened children hidden in the sea caves under the care of Helen, the lighthouse keeper. Among the dead was Jofridir's brother Ivor and the village wiseman Herdert, but Jofridir's father, mother, and sister were still missing. A grim discovery followed. Ivor's body was lifeless, yet his spirit lingered, bound to a dagger inscribed with an unfamiliar name, Lavinia. Determined to uncover the truth, the party set their sights on Bjorn's flute, home of the Isbjorn clan, whose involvement in the attack seemed likely. Aliona remained behind to help Helen escort the children to the safety of Riyab. The road ahead was treacherous, filled with dangers, both natural and supernatural, as the party pressed deeper into the heart of Torslin. Upon reaching Bjorn's flute, they discovered Torsten, Jofridir's father, bloodied, battered in the fighting pits. Their intervention led to open battle against the Isbjorn warriors until a silver dragon, Navara, descended, halting the conflict. Under her watchful eye, the party was taken to a remote mine at the foot of the Dristigfell Mountains to take shelter for the night. From there, they ascended into the peaks and entered the cave of Zormira the White. Within the very lair where Torsten had slain the legendary dragon Gerzagar decades before, the party faced the fearsome beast in battle, and against all odds, maybe not against all odds, they triumphed. Seeking spoils, they scoured the depths of the cavern, discovering the frozen remains of a stranger and a few valuables before coming face to face with an army of ice spiders. They scrambled to make their retreat, barely exiting the cave in time. Beneath the moonlit sky, tensions simmered. Kiesel voiced his suspicions of Alfred to Zedri, while Silenus, burdened with doubt, sought guidance from Torsten. The descent from the mountain led them back to the mine, where they took much-needed rest. There, Kiesel and Zedri again debated Alfred's connection to Brevin. Zedri's attempt to pry the truth from Alfred left him with more questions than answers, but also a growing conviction that Alfred remained, at least for the most part, in control of himself. At dawn, Torsten prayed to Beora for assistance and was answered with 3 reindeer mounts, named after his long-departed father and brothers. Navarra soared overhead, leading the party eastward along the mountain's edge. As midday approached, the snowfall thickened, and the wind bit harder. Then, in the distance, a pair of riders appeared. One a woman, the other a giant, their horses pulling a heavy sled, their intentions unknown. Be they friend or foe, we'll find out, as here on the Eastern Trail it is nearing midday on the 6th day of Sonman, 296 years after the fall. The tale resumes as the party approaches 2 mysterious riders. Bundled in thick furs against the relentless cold, the 2 figures ride with a purposeful stride, their course angled toward your direction. The lead rider, a striking woman with piercing blue eyes, braided black hair, surveys the land with cautious intensity, bigger build hinting at both strength and resilience. Behind her looms a towering figure, a giant, his broad frame draped in heavy furs, his sharp brown eyes also scanning the surroundings. As the wind shifts, carrying the muted sound of hooves crunching through the snow, one question lingers above all. Are they friend or are they foe?
Could we get a map so we can kind of see where we're at?
Not a problem. Let me make one. Get it.
And also, what kind of order are we in?
I think people had started to kind of shift in the order. I believe Silenus was moving towards the front as we ended last session. So you kind of can be in whatever order you want to be. So if you guys want to assign that now, that would probably be a good thing to do.
Your player would probably be somewhere towards the front.
I think Alfred will hang back a little. Let everyone sort of create a little wall.
Lonan will be probably like behind Yofredir. I imagine Yofredir and Torsten are both up front, so she'll be behind them.
Just speaking to maybe, I think Kiesel will probably be like somewhere in the middle.
He's usually towards the rear. The self-appointed rear guard.
True. Or
thanks to Harry Narwhal for joining the Discord as well as entering the giveaway.
hell yeah. Get those stickers. Did they have any sort of, you said that their demeanor they're coming up on us, but did they have any sort of like look on their face? Could we see if they're like, they have a furrowed brow or something, or are they chatting with each other?
They're not talking to each other. If you want to make an insight check as to trying to pick up any demeanor. Okay.
Yeah. Also, does the giant look at all like the description Ina gave Lonan of Benor, her husband?
Give me an investigation.
Okay.
From the rear, Alfred sees very little.
It is very snowy. It is very hard to see much of anything other than these shapes coming up on.
But it's not a problem for
Wow. tale of two opposites there with those rolls.
Yeah.
Damn. All right, with a 26 investigation, like there's some similarities, but pretty sure this is not the person you're looking for.
Okay.
I think so. The if I remember correctly, they've acknowledged that we're there.
Yeah, they see us.
They're close enough at this point in time that there's no denying you see each other now.
So have they made any movements to not just like ride past us?
No, they're still just continuing on their path.
Okay. As he gets up to the front next to Yofredir, I'll lean over and say quietly, if they do not make any movements, I suggest we just keep riding.
I agree. Being two people alone out here, I don't see them as necessarily a threat. Most likely just traders of some sort.
Well, maybe they came from where we're going, and they could tell us what's going on in the town.
If they came from where we're going, then we should probably attack them. But I do not know for sure.
I mean, they could be unaffiliated with them.
I did not see any unaffiliated people in that mountain fortress, Alfred.
Fortune, give me an investigation check.
Ooh, okay. It's not one of the ones I'm good at. It's not. Excellent.
Or perhaps if they're traders too, they could have something we could use.
Very possible as well. About how far are they from us at this point?
30 feet.
Okay.
6 seconds.
Does it seem like we're just trying to pass each other, like with a dap, or like right next to each
You
other?
could. I mean, it's not like you're in some cut that you have to like wait for somebody to go through. You're out on an open plain going through the hills. And honestly, there's enough snow on the ground that you can't really see much of a trail anymore anyway.
We're just walking.
Yeah. So
course.
as we start getting closer, Guilford will just be like, "Hail, travelers," and see if they respond.
Torsten, with your 17, you would not know the name, but would recognize that the giant is from Clan Fulcrack. Or the Drunken Crows.
Oh, we have more?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I do. I'm just checking it now. Okay.
Which, just for, on the presumption that if that gets shared, that is the clan that lives in Skeletville that you guys all visited.
So yeah,
Okay.
I'll mention it. I'll just be like, I cannot say for sure, but it does seem like the giant is at least from Clan Folklag.
We are trying to keep an eye out for them as well. We passed through there on our way to y'all. They've also lost a lot of their people to whatever happened with you guys.
They are the clan of mercy, generosity.
Mhm.
It is unlikely they would be dealing with those who we are on our way to find.
At least voluntarily.
Possible ally.
Unless they are part of the group that was kidnapped, maybe brainwashed, magically controlled. They did not leave of their own volition.
I'm sorry, the what now? Magically controlled?
The
I do not know.
I
a good portion.
I hate to bring this up once more, my friend, but for 50 days, I was in a pit. I am, unfortunately, lacking in some knowledge.
A good portion of the people from Skeletville had gone missing after the Ironsbjorn attacked them. There weren't any bodies left behind. We've had a running theory that some magical people might be controlling them, and that might be some of the people who eventually attacked Snowed Skull.
Well, perhaps we stop them and make a conversation then.
We could at least find out if they really are being mind controlled. That would give us some more answers.
As you're having this conversation, they've covered that 30 feet pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Hold on
hold on for like 5 to 7 minutes while we figure this out.
Just keep your distance, your personal space for a moment.
Yeah, Yorfer will stop and kind of wave to him. Travelers, hold a moment, please.
Papers, please.
Silenus is rubbing his temples.
Probably the only time Yorfer will say please.
Please.
The woman at the lead pulls down her scarf a little bit. Looks over all the party members. I don't think I know any of you.
No, I don't believe we've met. I'm Yorfer, Torsten's son. This is my father, Torsten. We are of Snowdfall. We're just a bit curious to see where y'all were coming from. Perhaps any news?
Just trapping, hunting. We'll sell some game. Beyond's flute. Not much. Snow's a bit too thick. There's really not much worth traveling further up this way. Heading somewhere?
Oh,
No, we're not.
chasing some
Monsters.
Rumors, I suppose?
Monsters.
Rumors of monsters.
Well, just kind of looks up at the gray sky and the snowfall. Really not good traveling weather.
And yet
Didn't
here
see
all of-
anything. What kind of monsters you tracking, hunting?
Dragon.
Saw one of those a few weeks back. Seemed to keep more to the west.
I heard there was a sighting of one flying this direction not too long ago.
Well, I suppose. Good hunting to you. Try not
Would
to
I-
freeze to death.
Would I know the name of the leader of that clan? Being also a
Is it in
clan
your
man.
lore?
It is in my lore.
Then yes, you would know.
Okay, cool. That's fine. I wasn't sure like how much I would like know because there's also like just
Yeah,
the
anything that's
part of
in
it-
there should be stuff that you know. So
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'll just I'll sort of look at the woman's a human, or at least like human looking.
Yeah, she's
not
a human.
giant.
As best as you can tell, she's got thick hood and everything else pulled over. She could technically, she could be an elf, be a human, but for the most part, you would guess. Being a human, presumption would be she's probably another.
Okay. And I know that all of Volkraga are giants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. In that case, also looking around, just be like, it's odd to see someone of your stature riding with a member of Clan Volkrag.
Don't know what this clan you speak of. My friend here doesn't speak much.
Where, if you don't mind us asking, where'd you pick him up from?
I was looking for work, traveling up the river in Skikastrom.
As she's answering Lonan, I'm gonna try to get, like, lock eyes with Silenus and trying to scratch my head a little bit, try to pass a hint along.
Now
Kinda
that we're
How
Put it
stealthily
giant
can I
to
cast a
Silenus and-
spell right now?
Step behind
step
me.
ahead of me, you fucker.
Silenus will reach out telepathically, with his innately being able to speak telepathically, and say into this giant's mind, if this person is holding you in some way, nod your head.
There's no reaction.
Would I know enough of like the giant tongue to say something in being like where they're situated, relatively not close, but they're relatively close to Snow Skull? Would I know like some basic stuff from like trade, things like that?
You know,
I'd say very, very minimal. But yeah.
it's actually was the same thing I was gonna go with because I do know Jimmy.
If you know giant, then that's different.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
person doesn't have giant.
No, but I know enough. Like I know enough words to dispute. I just want to say the equivalent of in very bad halting giant. What brings you this far south?
Alfred's gonna cringe at his pronunciation.
It's bad. It's bad, but he does it with confidence, and that's the worst part. He doesn't know how bad he is at it.
Like I said, my friend here doesn't say much.
He wears the colors of a clan.
He's never really told me anything about where he's from. I'm not sure he can speak.
Silenus is going to dismount, and under the cover of checking the hoof of his horse, and like just being like, oh, we're taking a stop, let me maintain my mount,
Okay.
and is going to try and sneakily cast detect thoughts while they continue to have this conversation.
And while we are closer now, can Alfred take another look at this giant to see if there's any sort of interesting garb, runes, or such mayhap on him?
Make an investigation.
Heard. Gladly. Okay. Anything
Not that you
seems-
see.
Okay. he's just mute.
Maybe. This
What
is way
is-
too suspicious for me.
Okay, your detect thoughts, is that on who? Sorry, I missed that part. So.
I mean, if I can do it without raising alarm, I'm going to start with woman.
What's your components?
Let's
all
pull it up.
3.
Yeah. I don't know if it has enough. This has an effect on it at all, but it is through one of my feats. So. Not sure if that has any difference, but yeah, it might need all 3.
Let me look.
Ernie, we're dealing with some suspicious, shady characters.
We're talking
That's
with the
me. That is all of us.
we're talking with
True.
the human woman, and she's like the giant. Doesn't say.
And we're also
It says you can
verbal
cast
liars.
So no components,
cast-
but it would still have the
No
verbal and
components.
somatic.
verbal
I
and
don't think
somatic,
we did
yes.
that update.
So, give me a sleight of hand and a stealth. Stealth's going to be for your verbal component, and sleight of hand's going to be for your somatic component.
And I try to disguise it in my the sound of the conversation and the working with the horse. Yikes.
Yellow
I have such a good sleight of hand too.
Alfred is at the same time. He's going to be dismounting his horse and making a lot of ruckus, like trying to get their attention. To which
Horse.
he's going to
Horse, Alfred. Horse.
horse.
I gave you a beautiful reindeer.
Oh, sorry, reindeer. Sorry, Freudian slip. I was excited. I just wanted to add my flash of genius to Silenus's role.
Ooh, the first one? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
the 10.
that's incredible.
That 4? Plus 4?
Yeah, plus 4. I'm not 20 yet.
Okay. And who were you starting with? Who'd you decide you were?
Decided I was going to start with the woman.
With the
See
woman?
what she's thinking.
Okay. So, surface thoughts. It's fucking cold. Why am I standing here in the snow talking to these idiots that are hunting dragons in the fucking cold? But, let's see. We'll say you pick up a little bit of... She's annoyed, but she's also uncomfortable. And not in the it's fucking cold, but in the she doesn't want to be in this situation.
7 strength.
If I switch, or if I switch over to the man.
So have you? It's because you have to recast it, I assume.
No, you get you can
just jump it?
You can just jump targets as long as you're still concentrating on the spell.
Okay.
As long as I haven't dug deeper into things yet.
Okay.
I can just keep switching it around.
Okay. Nothing.
His thoughts are blank,
Empty.
empty of thoughts.
The thoughts head empty.
Don't know as to. I mean, trusting your spell casting. It'd have to be one of two things: either he actively has no surface thoughts, or has some sort of protection against it.
And I try and dig deeper on him. Dig deeper into his thoughts.
Sure.
Is there any kind of resistance?
No. Let's see. What's the roll on that? What's your DC and what's the check or the save? Sorry.
The save is a wisdom save.
Okay.
And my DC is, I think it's 17. Yes, DC is 17.
You're not able to probe deeper. Meets it, beats it.
And is this like... So they're both riding on like horses, right?
Yeah, the same blue-black horses that some of you are riding. Those that are not privileged enough to ride Torsten's family member reindeer.
What is the giant man's like body language like, in the sense of how is he handling his mount? Like, is it like, is he like stiff or is it seem natural?
He doesn't appear like give me an insight.
While we're just staring at each other down to kind of like break the awkwardness, Yofrida's like, so where might y'all be headed from? It's a little bit out here, away from most things.
Like I said, we've been hunting and trapping. We're going to go sell what we can to people in Bjorn's Flute, do some trade, probably move on. Blasted cold.
Well, fortunately, from what we have heard, there may not be a whole lot of willing traders in Bjorn's Flute. Seems the dragon may have gotten there before us.
I see. I suppose we could push ahead to Gigastorm. They should be down wintering near the river. Anyway, it is flipping cold. I think we'll keep moving. I guess good luck in your dragon hunt.
What time of day is it?
About midday.
Midday, okay. And yes, you as well. Stay warm, stay safe. Hopefully, dragon avoids you. Have you perhaps
hope you are
seen
victorious in
anything?
that.
Maybe have you seen any perhaps signs of a dragon or what may be a dragon?
Other than seeing one a few weeks ago to the west, no.
Have you been able to trap much around here? Because normally, if there's a dragon about, fauna gets a bit scarce.
No, like I said, it's pretty poor hunting, trapping, with the depths of the snow and the espion and the variety of other problems. Mostly the flipping cold has been pretty awful.
Understandable.
Not my best trip. I was told there was supposed to be summer.
Well, summer, it's a bit of a deceiving word down here. You said you were going to trade. Would you perhaps have any furs or meat that we could perhaps buy off of you?
You got good coin.
I always got some coin, and he's probably got two different coin purses, one with his main stash and then another little one since he got robbed the one time, but he'll pull one out with probably about 25 gold coins, some silver and copper mixed in. Depends what you have. I'm always willing to pay for good product.
Reaches back into the saddlebags on the side. Pulls out a couple pretty good rabbit pelts. It's- I don't have a lot, but I'd be happy to trade these two. I should be able to make a pair of gloves, maybe a hat. 5 gold.
Not a bad idea. Do you have any of meat? Perhaps some fresh meat, would be a great meal for tonight.
Unfortunately, no. Everything that we've been able to catch food-wise, we've had to consume. My friend here, he doesn't say much, but he does eat quite a bit.
Oh, understandable. A lot of... Gotta keep up with the great physique. I know all about that. I think we can do 5 gold, and he'll be slowly just taking his time, pulling the pouch open, like pretending to shake a little bit because his hands are cold, and then just be digging through a little bit, taking 1 gold out, putting it in his hand, digging through a little bit more, taking another, just slowly counting out 5 gold pieces.
As he's... Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
I was gonna say, as he's doing that, Lonan's gonna turn to Alfred and very loudly in Giant say, doesn't that fellow look like Binor from Skeletville? And kind of like out of the corner of her eye, watch for his reaction to saying a name of someone that she knows is from the same area.
Alfred will just like continue in Giant, like, yeah, I think you're right. Or, yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, Ina's husband, right?
Maybe it's been a while since I heard, but I think that tracks.
And Torsten say in Giant, your accents are horrible.
He can certainly try.
With his accent
He can
equally
cer-
terrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's so much worse. It's so much worse.
Alfred will just give Torsten a deadpan.
Lonan, you don't notice any like change at all as to the conversation in response to your conversation.
Can I have 2 questions about this woman. When she said they said it was summer, she doesn't sound like she doesn't have an accent from Torsten.
No.
Not a recognizable one. And how, like, is she correctly dressed for this weather for someone who would have spent a lot of time here? Or does it look like she's put on some warm clothes because she's been told it's going to be cold, rather than you're living in the cold, you need to layer up in a specific way to able to go about your,
She appears to be dressed appropriately.
sort of like
Does not appear to be dressed in a way that would suggest she's used to the cold. She's dressed in a way to protect against the cold that most normal folks would be. Maybe not, a certain paladin and a barbarian in the party here, but...
Right. She's dressed more like Alfred.
I'll just like, so what brought you to Torsland?
As making the rounds, I was with the party, was going to try their hand at hunting monsters in Crixia, and yet we decided that was not the best plan. So we kept going, came up here, seemed like a little bit better. Just kind of been making our way up the river. Some of my party members moved on and found my friend here. He's been helping me with some of the more physical labor, taking care of each other as we make our way through. It's been a piss poor trip.
Where did you find him? I imagine, judging by where the clanlands are, probably a lot further west.
Yes, he was staying with the Skigastrom clan as we moved up the river.
So, will I refer to law? Apologies.
In the meantime, Alfred will step up. So, now that your party is mostly moved on, you said. What are your plans now?
Go somewhere warm.
Honestly, that's a fair statement. As someone that's also not from around here, I desperately wish to, no offense, Yofordir, no offense, Torsten, but get the fuck out of here.
It's not for
Sounds like a
everybody.
good plan.
Well, how about this? I mean, if you don't necessarily have a intended destination, there are strength in numbers.
I've already been up in this valley. I have no desire to go back in the valley. We barely have enough foodstuffs to get back to the village. And based on the last visit there, the foodstuffs were not in plentiful supply with the last time we traded with the Espion. So I appreciate the offer. Since your friend here has been looking to trade for foodstuffs, I imagine you don't have a plentiful supply either.
Well, that's just fresh meat. We're not necessarily hard up on food. It's just always nice to have something fresh caught.
Fair enough.
Hmm.
Anyway, have you found your coin, sir? I very much like to get to my destination before darkness.
Here you are. 5 gold pieces.
She hands you the couple rabbit pelts. Very good. Wish you good hunting. Don't freeze to death.
And you as well. Hopefully you find someplace warm soon. Don't know if you'll find one here in Torsland.
I pretty much resolved that is probably not possible. So, yes, good day to you. We'll be going
Safe
now.
travels.
She'll motion for the giant to follow as she takes her reins and starts back going as she moves past you.
Does he respond?
Or
Does he
starts
like? Does he? When she makes the gesture, does he immediately start moving?
Pretty quickly, yeah.
Does he like look at her, or like is there a human movement in this?
Pulls on the reins and starts moving his horse. He's already looking forward, and he's behind her, so there's really not a whole lot of eye contact or anything like that.
As they're
If
moving
Silenus
away
stepped
from
in-
us. Yeah, no, as they're moving away, Yofordir's gonna kind of look to Silenus and be like, and oh,
If Silenus steps in front of his horse, does he stop?
He doesn't stop. He immediately, in response, pulls the reins to the side to try to go around you.
That's weird. That's
All right, fuck it.
So Silenus isn't even gonna hide it at this point. He's gonna cast Dispel Magic on the man.
You really did beat me to it.
Yeah.
Any,
Yeah,
I got
well,
5th level
any,
Dispel
any,
Magic though.
any
Okay,
encounter
fair.
that starts with fuck it. You know that's
from 2 people.
Yeah.
Yofordir will probably, or seeing Silenus getting ready to cast something, he's probably been riding with his axe laid across his lap, easy access for it. He'd probably have his hand on the handle, just kind of tighten his grip a little bit, just in case.
And
Hold an action for any quick movements.
and can Lonan reach over and try to grab the giant man's horse's reins?
Okay.
Whoa.
Should we take a break before initiative?
Okay. It's a lot of
There's only,
stuff.
there's only 2 of them. How bad could it be?
Before we murder some
holding it.
innocent traders.
No. No one has no surface thoughts unless something is going on.
Yeah. ring of my own shielding or something like that. Oh, now it.
Which is a possibility, but like something going on here.
Okay. You cast Dispel Magic on. Okay.
Nice.
My spell slots, yeah.
We're so fine.
Okay. You cast Dispel Magic. He doesn't change his behavior. He continues to attempt to ride on the horse, following his friend as they move past the party.
Like nothing happens.
Nothing that you see, at least.
Can I make some sort of check to tell if it just wasn't, the spell just wasn't high enough to do anything, or if there's literally just nothing magical going on?
You can make an Arcana check, sure.
Middle of the road.
17. With the 17, I would say you would be fairly certain that there is not a magical effect on him to be dispelled. That you have dispelled any magical effects that were on him.
Not us harassing a giant PTSD on the road.
There's something here.
I just want to make sure I'm caught up to speed. So we were walking on the trail that was pre-scouted, and my mic is either booming or it's so quiet that no one can hear me, or everybody can hear me because AJ is cringing out of his skin. And then we came up on these people, and they're like, "You're acting kind of weird," and they just move along. Right? That's pretty much all that's happened up until this point.
Yeah, there's been some attempts to use some spellcraft and stuff like that, but what Kiesel's seen is basically these people were coming up the road heading the opposite direction that you guys were headed, and Jofridir decided to greet him, had a little friendly exchange about hunting and trapping in the area, some trade of goods, some questions spoken in Giant that didn't elicit any sort of response.
Okay. Is it possible that we're the weird, battle-scarred, paranoid ones in this situation? I'm sorry, I have a little bit of a cold. And that we should be the ones moving on? I mean, I think he said it. No offense to the both of you. People get very weird up here. And I don't know if it's the icicles in their ears, or if it's the traumatic stress of being in this environment. But we should move on, right? I feel like I just blacked out and got here, so if I'm incorrect about this, please, by all means.
You know, I think Kisa may be right. A lot of things may seem suspicious to us just because of what we've dealt with, but perhaps in this situation, maybe we were the suspicious ones.
I mean, look, I know what it's like to go up to somebody and just unintelligibly scream at them, or at least that's what it feels like I do, and they don't understand. But I think we just should be making headway and not bother any sort of fur trappers. Unless we see any suspicious tattoos, then we kill them. You know, so...
Well, Either way, I guess we move onward. Alfred, can you think of anything to make with these rabbit pelts?
Yeah, I mean, they said a good pair of mittens or a cap would be good.
Seem good quality. I've got 2 of them, right? Or was it just 1?
Just two pelts.
Two. Well, I
Would you
don't
want 'em?
particularly need anything, I suppose. Get creative.
Okay. All right. I'll see what I can do. After we'll take the 2 pelts. and-
Lonan will kind of look at them like over his shoulder. I mean, those are real nice.
Yeah. Maybe you could give me a hand with them.
Of course,
I
I
know
would
you're a
love
lot
to.
more adept with the finer work. I'm more of a big picture sort of guy.
I'm sure we can figure out something. But I don't know. There was just something about the fact that that guy wasn't responding to anything we said to him in any language. And it's like, yeah, he could just be not be able to
Deaf?
speak, but
No, it wasn't that. His thoughts were wiped clean.
Hmm. Like if he's a thrall or if he has some sort of mind shielding going.
Perhaps, but I didn't sense any magic.
Hmm.
The-
Or he could be
and-
the, receiving end of a horrible brain injury as well.
Ethan, have you ever had
Brain
point in your
injuries? I
life where you-
believe so.
No, yes, many, but even you with your many brain injuries, have you ever had a moment in your life where you had no thoughts in your head at all? There wasn't
you remember
anything
that?
ever passively even processing.
I've seen a number of folks with head injuries that make it hard for them to do anything. They wouldn't be able to ride a horse as, like, kind of adeptly as he is. That's the thing. It doesn't just affect, like, I mean, it can, but I'm wondering if there's, I don't know, I might be just peeking out my ass here.
Did you check his fingers and toes? I mean, I think we duly spread around mind shielding, I mean, he could just,
So it's-
he
Holds up his hand and there's no ring on there, because ruins of mind shielding turn invisible when you put them on.
Well, then in that case, he could either have some sort of mind shielding, he could be a eunuch and he's being forced not to speak because he's been upheld to some oath of solidarity or solitude, and he needs to block his mind and this and that. You know what I mean? I don't know, that's fucking weird, but he didn't dispel magic, he didn't go poof. There weren't, full the halflings in the back that jumped out and full kobolds in a trench coat. There was none of that.
I
Come on.
would love to spend a day in your brain, Kiesel.
Speaking of brains, there are types of enchantment magics that do allow you to cloud people's minds, but there's also plenty of other things that are out there in the world that aren't necessarily magic. Maybe a lot more ancient than that, or it could be some sort of relic. We know all about that kind of stuff. And so he just gets quiet as he throws his reins a little bit.
We should keep moving. I assume we're not walking and talking?
I assumed you were walking and talking.
Yeah, that's
so
what I
yeah.
figured.
I will-
as well.
okay,
There's no reason to
Yeah.
be standing there.
Yeah.
I think perhaps we may be overthinking the whole situation. I don't know how much experience you guys have with giants, but maybe their mind just isn't as flowing with thought as we're
I
used
feel
to.
like that's offensive.
Probably.
I don't mean it in an offensive way, but I think with our experiences we've had, we may just be overthinking the whole situation.
Now,
He's not
I will
deaf.
say, if
I'm with
if-
Celine. on this one.
If we came across another individual completely blank, or two or any more passengers traveling bys that have the same thing, then I'd say we should get a little itchy.
I mean, isn't it
If-
suspicious that they came from the direction that we are pretty sure the cult is in? We know there's not much else out there. And they're heading back to the place where they were, left prisoners, and she'll kind of motion to Torsten, was a base of operations somewhat? Like, is that
I
not
think-
a little suspicious?
I
So
would
should
be
we
willing
just
to let this. I would be willing to let this go if and identified the man as coming from the village that was taken and all the inhabitants were stolen away from it.
What were you gonna do? Ask him? Obviously, moot point, right?
I tried to. He didn't respond.
Well, in that case, we go back there, we stick them up, we take them prisoner, we do valued magical and mental assessments on them, and then once we figure out that the papers check out, we let them go. Like
This
a bunch
is-
of cops.
This
Like
is
a bunch of
something
cops.
that we already talked about, though. Whenever we were in Snowed Skull and everybody was gone, there was a brief moment where the worry was that everybody left in some sort of willing state before we identified what actually happened.
Well, I say let's put it to a vote. One way we go back, kill the woman, and possibly set the giant free, or the other way we continue onwards. Because if there's some enchantment or anything on the giant, it hurt, yes?
There's not, because I would have destroyed the enchantment if there was one.
Or perhaps something else. Maybe not a spell, maybe an item, or I don't know how these things work. What if there is an enemy between the two? It would be her, yes?
She would also have information if she was an enemy, though.
Alright, so we disable her, possibly free the giant, or we continue onwards. Shall
We
vote?
are already struggling enough with identifying how long it is that we're going to have to journey on before we actually make it to where everybody else is. I mean, I don't think it's a good idea to double back.
That one I gotta agree with Cedric on. We gotta keep moving forward. I would love to figure out what's going on with him, but I think it's more of a get to the root of the problem.
I agree as well. If there is something going on there, I do not see it as worth the time it would be to go back, handle the situation, and then continue onwards.
And besides, I don't think that we're the type to just decide to go and murder someone on the road.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I would have been an
Killing them
advocate.
is a bit extreme, but disable.
I would have been more in favor of kidnapping. My kidnapping skills have been rusty, so I could use the experience. It's been a while. Killing them would, I would have had the same face Edry had. I would have been a little bit too far from strangers. Kidnapping them, perfectly fine, especially if you don't know them.
You've kidnapped people before?
Yes. Can we just keep moving on the path?
Well, and at this point, I'm surprised that you're surprised. Not that I know.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that's probably a fair assessment.
I
Lonan,
don't know all of
please.
Kiesel's history, but nothing really surprises me when he says it anymore.
Dogs have to shit, birds have to fly, and a man's got to make a living. And when you take whatever you can get, sometimes that living gets a little rough.
Even though there's no immediate solution that we have to what we just faced, I think it serves to keep us on guard. Because what if there are others in the same condition as that fellow? Then that means that we might have to be very careful moving forward.
Exactly, it's that scientific method that Alfred uses. 1 times a fluke, 2 times raise an eyebrow, 3 times raise 2 eyebrows.
Alright. So I guess let's vote. Kidnap or continue? Who's for kidnap?
Kiesel
And
doesn't
continue.
raise his hand.
Continue.
Alfred.
Salinas, you
continue?
didn't raise your hand, did you?
Do you have another suggestion, perhaps?
I think our opportunity left when they walked away.
Then we
You
keep-
sent Galfrank after. How long should you keep him on their trail?
Indefinitely, but I wouldn't be able to report back.
How long before you would lose the ability to report back from him?
Just for clarification, I would point out that the snow is at least 3 feet deep. So Galfrank
You just see a
This
tadpole.
poor...
Well, better yet,
No,
if we
Galfrank would go straight underneath the snow. Just make a tunnel
Oh, yeah.
straight through the.
But
the
we wouldn't
powder.
even have a periscope going with the tail. We're so deep.
if it's too much for Galfrank, I mean, we could keep Fulk on them from the sky.
But that's not to me.
No, I'm throwing out ideas. I wasn't having.
You know what we should do? We should go ahead and use the non-descriptive time or length thereof that we're going to be traveling to go ahead and talk about possibilities of if we run into something like this again, how we are going to face it down. I think a tactical talk would not only serve to keep us distracted from the utter boringness of the vast snowscape before us, but it might be conducive if we actually run into it.
That's a good idea. I mean, we could use it just to also talk other plans we might need as well. Not just that one. Need a modesty cover for your cat, Ernie.
Well, I mean, I feel like, yes, there could have been opportunity there for something more. It wasn't necessarily a bad interaction. No one died.
We have some information. That's a start. I just disagree that wasn't at all suspicious, because it was very obviously suspicious.
I mean, yes, but in terms of where we stand after versus where we stand before, we're all still standing.
Yes.
So, that being said, do we stop and hold up the next travelers we meet? If they are coming from that direction?
If they have the same symptomatic, things as this one was.
Like I said, we're heading towards a group of people that we know not only has kidnapped a lot of folks, but have very strong magic on their side. I think stopping and at least talking is probably a good idea.
One of the things I thought was odd was, did they seem, or Deanne, did they seem like they were empathetically upset when they were talking about how they lost their other party members?
No.
One thing that also struck me as odd is that they just sort of glossed over the fact that they lost half their party somewhere.
They said they separated, but yeah, I agree. She was way too casual about that.
The man, I was telling you, he does not have any thoughts of his own anymore. Couldn't bring himself to be empathetic even if he wanted to.
No, the woman.
The woman, yeah.
Yeah.
Now I kind of want to go back.
I
He's
still
so-
think we going forward.
I'll do this. I don't see him, do I?
No.
Don't see who.
Them, the two people that
No,
we've-
at this point in time, they are out of view.
Two
You're in the
ships
middle of a
night.
snowstorm, so visibility
Yeah.
doesn't go very far.
Well, then on the next one, do we take some more aggressive stance?
There's one very important thing that I think that we're forgetting. Even though you keep on saying that that man didn't have thoughts to himself, I'm pretty sure that he could easily have followed commands from that woman. If we ran into a situation like that again and innocent tribesfolk was sicked upon us, is it really our place to mow them down? The same way we did at Beyond's fleet?
Not mow them down, but we could non-lethally beat their ass. You know, fisticuffs and all. We don't have to kill anybody.
Yeah, I'd rather avoid killing anybody innocent. Let's just, like, be baseline here. Or anyone in
rope.
general. I'd rather not. But,
We do have plenty of rope. We could just restrain him, and I'm sure Silenus still has some paint, perhaps.
Not the paint.
Paint might
Always
be-
have just enough.
I don't
paint
know what
might,
this paint is, but I'm not gonna ask.
Oh, it's another story we didn't all 100% agree on, but
it's
work.
it's like an old inside joke. It's like a reference. No, if something weird does happen, for sure we should take a more protective stance. I would hesitate to use the word aggressive, but just as an investigator would be very protective. In an aggressive
Proactive.
manner. Proactive, yes. Protective. Proactive. Kiesel breaks like a snot icicle from his nose. We should definitely use that as an opportunity, because, like I said, one man with no thoughts, that's weird. We start seeing more in this snowstorm. Then, one, we're on the right path, and two, we have some questions. Or, you know, that could have been a weird thing. That woman could have been a lich, or like some sort of evil undead lord and had her thrall with her, and that was just like a 1 in a 50 million chance of ever happening.
The only thing we've remotely experienced that's like that is Maidenthorn, but even that was curable with magics.
As you continue,
Do I know if there's? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Do I know if there's? Do I know if there's anything down this, like the way that we're going? Is there another settlement?
Give me a history check.
Ah, yes, history. The great equalizer.
Hey, that's pretty good.
With a 13, not aware of any other settlements up this way. Honestly, not aware of anything up this way.
Yeah, this is just like.
Just the end of the valley.
But we're being led there by this dragon.
And the trail. Yeah.
The lights Lonan saw last night.
Yeah, and Nysel as well.
Yeah.
And it's just like, while you guys have all been talking about this, Tor's just sort of been like concentrating around. He's just like, he goes, I think that woman was not from here. I think she came to this area, an area where no one else would be, and I think she bought that man. I think she got them from the people who took him from the place, from his tribe. They are not prone to much interaction with outsiders. They do not ride mounts. They work with their hands. They are not people who feed off the land. They're not people who hunt for game too much. They are insular. They are good. Why won't it be this far south is beyond me. And if it's, as you say, they had no surface thoughts, almost as if what he was erased. It's but without proof, you are just jumping to a conclusion. And my worry is that if people are traveling to down this path this trail, which leads, in my experience, to nothing. You would not try to catch game in a snowstorm. You would not try to forage in a snowstorm. It is the thing that keeps me going and not back to help that man, is that if they have my family, they could be the next to be sold or given.
There's a lot more people there that we need to get to. I feel for that man, I certainly do, but maybe whatever magic or enchantment, wherever it's based, it'll, when we deal with these he'll break through it. Or maybe we'll see him again someday and we can beat her up or whatever and help him.
Or whatever we're heading to is acting as a conduit, and once we stop whatever nefarious acts happen there, the influence will drop.
I mean, that was the first thing I said, but yeah.
I think I worded it in a way that I understood it better, so
Fair
I
enough.
appreciate the way that we both said it.
And if it doesn't, if nothing changes as a result of us breaking whatever pseudo curse you're thinking it is, then we just sit with ourselves on the fact that that just passed us by.
We learn to be a little bit more dangerous and take risks.
We would
Because-
have to carry it with us, if that's the question you're asking. Because here's the thing, like Torsten said, there's a lot more people who now need our help as well, if that is the case. I would love to go back and help him, but there
In the
are...
situation of him, we do not know for sure.
Yeah.
And if he is under some sort of curse or enchantment, whatever it may be, and whatever we do doesn't work, we want to know. It may bother us for the rest of our lives, but I feel there are much bitter things that we have done that may sit on our minds more than that.
The
This is
fact
not the
there are...
only sacrifice that we've had to make or opportunity we've had to pass.
The fact that there is a group that can whap someone's mind and then sell them off or give them away or whatever we think is happening, I would say that is the main prerogative here. Than rather one individual of their victims is to stop the whole thing, because they'll just keep making more. If we stop and help each one of their victims along the way, I'd rather cut it off at the root.
I would not discount that she was involved in whatever this is.
Agreed.
Well, if she is, the way I see it, it's one less person we have to deal with when we get there.
We never even asked her name.
Ooh.
She was incredibly rude. Yoferdir offered his. She didn't.
It wasn't very chatty. It did introduce us, and she never gave us a name, so I'm sure she had something to hide for whatever reason.
Obviously.
The pelts that we bought from her, did they actually look like they were freshly caught? Or at least like within reasonable time frame?
Well, they're probably lunch trays, not because they're frozen.
I know, Lonan, you made
Yeah.
a comment that they look nice, but
They're good pelts. They look like they were well taken care of.
But well taken care of, like, do they look like they've been, like, cut by someone who knows how to cut them? If I could inspect it. Oh, they do? Okay, well, never mind. I was gonna see if I could do, like, a survival check on them to make sure this wasn't just ripped right off the rabbit. It was actual, like, craftsmanship put
Does-
into it.
I think I know what you guys are going for.
I was
Here's
looking
maybe
more
a
at,
better-
like, the age of it.
Or does it look like fur of a creature that would be up in these mountains?
For the two semi-locals, snowshoe hare, and white rabbits.
So rabbits, they're pretty common pretty much everywhere.
Did you say they were white?
Mm-hmm.
They caught 2 white rabbits in a snowstorm?
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Magic missile. That's the most efficient way, you know? You don't lose any arrows.
You know what? That's fair.
That's fair.
Up in your hunter's blind, just magic missiling things.
Every cyber being wants us to go and find out what this is now.
Zedri is going to pull up his horse over to Silenus. Is Silenus just like totally quiet at this point?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Hey, totally been there. And honestly, that's why I made the concession that I did. I don't think your heart's in the wrong place, but I think that we are distinctly lacking the ability to solve any of these problems right now.
The mystery of it. Galling.
Right, but I feel
Just
that
keep.
we know a little bit more than we did with the whole Maidenthorn situation. We at least know where to go.
We
Is somebody who still lets guilt continually eat at their conscience slowly, and bit by bit. I just want to impress upon you the fact that you can live with it, but you might have to go ahead and champion that fear to go ahead and spearhead a push towards resolving the bigger issue. You can't live in it.
No, we're just going to. We're going to figure out what this is.
I was really trying to lean into the whole like you should pray about it issue. I'm trying to rebuild the connection, you know. Really thought you were going to get there on your own, so let me be the one. I think you should probably go ahead and meditate with Aurora about an issue like this, because it seems so much bigger than what we're able to do right now. And you have Silenus, you're champion of Aurora. He's just like fully leaned on the side of his horse.
Does your friend hear this conversation? I don't know if they're being
everyone hears
secretive about it.
You being secretive about it?
He's leaning off the side of his horse. I mean, he's right next to Silenus, but I don't
I'd
think
say
he's necessarily
you'd have to make a perception check just because you are in the middle of a snowstorm. So if you are not next to somebody, it is not easy to hear.
I will make that perception check.
I'm also gonna make it.
I do not hear. I hear.
Conan hears every.
Oh,
I
cool.
hear
Of course
every
she does.
individual like snowflake hitting the ground.
Damn, we are not paying a fucking attention.
Conan hears everything. No one else hears anything.
Cul-de-sac. What?
Oh, there was nothing at the end of it except for a cul-de-sac.
It's my big
Perhaps-
secret up my sleeve is that you guys are going to go and just turn around and come right back down.
That's what we've been doing this whole time. We've just been rounding a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Cul-de-sac. Ah, womp womp.
Yeah. Perhaps when we stop for our midday rest, I will consider your words.
You don't have to take on everything yourself. It's not to beg and plead with her, but you are allowed to ask big questions of other people if you can't find the answer yourself. in gods, because you know. Citri just pulls off slightly, and with the dense snowstorm, just like disappears 5 feet away.
Speaking of midday rest, you would be kind of at that time that at any point in time, if you wanted to give the mounts a break.
Citri pulls back over to Silenus. You know, speaking of, it's kind of midday right now. We should probably go ahead and take the rest.
Not hearing them, Yofer's gonna turn back. It's getting about lunchtime. Shall we stop, make a fire?
Everybody in turn.
Great
starts
minds think
suggesting it's
alike, right,
midday.
Zedri?
You know, I'm a
What?
little hungry.
Great minds think alike, right, Zedri?
Give me a second. Citri's gonna pull over to London. I really can't hear you. I'm so sorry. What were you saying?
I said great minds think alike, don't they?
Alfred will pull over.
You know, I'm getting a little hungry. I think we should stop for lunch.
Yeah, I guess they do loaded.
Anyone see a place with a bit of cover? It's windy. I can't really hear the rest of you. But I think we should stop for lunch.
And Lonan stand up in her stirrups and try to see if there's a place that like has a little bit of cover.
As the only
Rolling
person
a
that can
perception
actually
check.
Is there enough snow cover or cloud cover that I don't need to make it?
Yeah, you don't have the disadvantage. I mean, it's a high DC anyway, just because of the snow cover. But yes, you do not have your disadvantage from sunlight.
Ooh.
Who cares about high DCs when you can roll a 28?
Yep.
Relatively quickly find there's like a small bluff that's providing a little bit of a windbreak, so you can get out of the wind for a little bit.
Yeah, she'll
It's
kind of
big enough that everybody can fit, as well as the mounts.
herd all of the boys in that direction.
Oh, I suppose we're stopping. I'll follow you guys.
Yeah, we'll hitch up.
Yeah, eat some jerky and let the critters get some rest. Certain Torsten, do your reindeer need rest? Or
I honestly didn't really get a lot of instruction on their care.
we'll just assume they do.
You didn't get their feeding routine and like their shot immunization record and
No.
Yofer leans over to that direction. I'm not sure what they eat, but I suppose we can just try to feed them. I don't know if they even eat. Or if we got any care instructions. Still playing on that 7 perception.
I love it.
every day.
No, I can gladly help with that. Citri will go ahead and conjure some of the good berries.
So about how far do you reckon we're from Bjorn's flute?
Someone want to make a survival check?
No one wants to answer. No one has an answer.
I'll go ahead and make one.
Can multiple people try?
Yeah.
Okay, Citri will try them.
Everyone can think.
Couple hours.
All right. Everybody that rolled got a high enough DC 10 to know.
Oh,
You
awesome.
started just north of there. It's about a half a day because it's been half a day since you left.
We're not that far. Half a day or so.
All right, as you
What?
take up shelter in this bluff, or below this bluff, it gives you a good position where you are out of sight of anybody who'd be coming down the path. You could probably find a vantage point to keep an eye on the path, but you should be fairly well secluded and providing you enough cover to get out of at least the bulk of the snow and the biting wind. As the snow is just continue to intensify with pretty much every step you take. It gets a little bit heavier, a little bit thicker, a little bit colder. Anything you guys are wishing to do over your midday break or get back on the road?
Linus would desperately love to take a short rest.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yoforder's gonna. Did we start a fire or no? I don't know if we
Up to you.
find any firewood. Either way, Yoforder's gonna kind of sit a little bit away from the group, not like distant, but like on the outside of the group, kind of. And he's gonna be sitting on, chewing on some jerky, just fiddling with the dagger.
Alfred's probably going to spend most of his time with Cybil, just getting her a little stretch, a little jaunt. He'll take a little jaunt over the bluff just to see if like anything's happening as he walks her, but then he'll make his way back over.
Give me a perception.
Oh, perfect. My best thing ever.
All looks quiet on the trail. Most things are smart enough to stay out of the snow.
Alfred usually is.
As we're taking our short rest, can Lonan get the rabbit pelts from Alfred and just like from a seamstress's perspective, just as like analyzing it, just as like a distraction for the hour while we're resting?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Alfred doesn't take too long to like walking Cybil, so most of the time he could spend with Lonan working on that.
Zidri's gonna take some time to refold the temple linens that he and Alfred got from Bjorn's float, since they were kind of unceremoniously put into the bag of holding. Make them like really compact so that even if they just float in the extra dimensional space, they won't come undone. It's like took them upon themselves.
Question for another day on how do folded items do inside a interdimensional space?
Silver, I have a lore question for you.
Okay.
Traditionally, the light of Aurora, does it give off any heat, or is it just pure, like, optical light?
Like in referencing what as to the light of Aurora?
Like
your healing light type deal?
Sure, or just like a just like if something with the power, like if Aurora stood next to a pile of wood, would it light on fire from all the light coming off of her? Or is it because like does that light give off any heat? Okay.
Minimal.
It would appear so, but it's actually just Infernus sitting behind her with a stick, fire starting.
Well, if I remember correctly in my dream sequence that we all shared, I got burned. So I sat next to her. I leaned into her.
Yeah, but it was radiant, like a radiant burn, like a sun burn.
She just roasted you, that's what it was.
Like, would the light of Aurora melt snow? I guess maybe. Sunlight can melt snow.
You could always try it.
We're seeing if passively. Never mind. It's fine. I'm going to go with no. Say heat is Infernus's dealio.
Let's wait for you to say. Just gonna passively invoke Aurora to show up here. Just swing by. We can have a chat. See how it works.
Are you busy?
Call your mom.
Yeah. Silenus is going to take Zedri's advice and meditate.
Okay.
And as he does, he'll have a slight glow about him. And everyone, parentheses, sadly, except Torsten, gains 15 temporary hit points.
Ooh.
Heck yeah.
Unfortunately, it's only you and 5 other creatures.
Let's see how it is.
Should have all gone to the mounts.
All right. Anything else on midday break? Hearing none.
Okay.
Remount after a nice meal of hardtack and jerky. Back on the trail that is becoming increasingly difficult to follow or make any real good speed through it, as it's, as previously stated, around 3 foot deep, and there's not a crust on top that we can even attempt to try and walk on top of it. It's just pretty much moving through powder. Visibility is considerably worse with every passing hour as continue to make your way east to who knows where, struggling to see where you're at, where you're headed, and you're basically get to a point where you're just forced to keep the shadow of the mountains on your left and keep it at approximately the same distance to keep moving along that path, as you really have no other path to follow at this point. But you do so. You continue to make headway. You pass the time into the afternoon, continuing to travel along, and late afternoon stretches on, storm intensifying again as it continues throughout the day, snow piling up over 3 feet at this point. But you persevere, keep pushing. Visibility shrunk to nearly nothing, with the world basically beyond 10 feet is swallowed in the swirling snow. You can't see further than 10 feet from you. Yet, despite this oppressive whiteness and the unrelenting storm, there's a sense of direction that just seems to linger. Instinctual pull, pulling you eastward, northeastward. As the mountains continue to loom, shadowy specters on your left, and to a small degree, you can pick up a little bit of a shadow to the right as well, that you are now starting to enter into some sort of a bottleneck. I'll mark it on them. As nightfall approaches, and the gray, dull light of what little sunlight you get, the slight illumination of the clouds above you, as starts to dim, indicating visibility will continue to go downhill, and those of you without dark vision will soon be in pretty much a state of darkness, as no light is hitting the surface of the snow to really illuminate it beyond just being a blank canvas. With that, do you wish to push forward at the risk of potential exhaustion? Or do you want to set up camp in the middle of a snowy plain?
as we get to this sort of like break point where nothing can be seen, do we need a light, or are we gonna try and find somewhere to rest for the night?
Well, pretty soon I'm not going to be able to see anything at all. But at the same time, there's not many places with shelter around here. I think we should push on, but find somewhere with a little bit more cover from the wind and snow.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how discreet we're trying to be. I can give us a light, but then everyone can see us, I guess.
I can also take point and lead. I mean, I can see in the dark pretty, honestly, better than I can see in the sunshine. Took me a second.
Keep us more low-key, I suppose. Let's do this. And he's gonna grab the rope off the side of his pack, and he's gonna pass the one end to Lonan. You lead, and any of us that can't see, we'll just hold on the rope and it'll be our eyes.
And Alfred will produce a small flame as seeing no objection.
Yeah, Lona will tie the rope to her horse. Alright. Let's push on at least until we can find some type of shelter. And she'll take point.
And Alfred will probably be like right behind her then.
Zidri will pull up beside Torsten, Gofredir, and Kiesel, like kind of in the midst of all three of them, just so he can help. And he'll pull back and move forward as need be, just to check in with them, since he has dark vision.
I can't see shit.
You know, I've been in a forest at night where there's absolutely nothing around, so being in the pitch black with no light, it's peaceful, but kind of terrified at the same time. 'Cause
It's
you literally cannot see anything.
It's utterly terrifying.
Yeah, it would almost be like sensory deprivation, except you hear everything, you just can't see anything.
Yeah,
If there's
I'm actually
no-
wondering if the howling wind would be better or worse.
Yeah. Even if there's, especially if there's no moonlight, it's like creepy.
Now there's a little flame.
Kiesel pulls up his like full, like protective snow gear.
All right. As you tie up everybody to have a little chain to follow, and Alfred gets out his little candle, magical candle, and you decide to push forward into the dark void of the night sky. You didn't say it was a scented light.
Yeah, Alfred in his hands that he's having the fire. He's also got a little bit of dried herb.
Prestidigitation or thaumaturgy.
No, I can't cast 2 cantrips at once.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Come on, we can't be unreasonable here.
I mean,
Come on.
Real life rules are a little bit more restrictive than game rules, but
That's
that
fair.
one is, the one that stays the same.
yeah.
On that note. All right. As the party pushes forward into the crushing void of darkness, snow, and ice, as the snow is now over 4 foot deep, your solution of the tied rope amongst you works to keep you together, works to keep anybody from getting separated to any large degree, as you feel a gentle tug as somebody gets a little bit too far away, and then pull back within the group as the wind howls through the valley with biting cold that even with the crow cloaks, it is miserably cold and uncomfortable. But you press onward. As Lonan, you're taking lead.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the perception check. I want to see below 20 for the first time tonight. I don't actually want to see that.
Well, good.
Denied me anyway.
Yeah.
Through the storm and darkness, as you move along, keeping the mountains to your left for several hours into the dark, before your eyes catch an extra level of dark off to the left. A break in the snowy void that you quickly would surmise to be some sort of a cave.
Mm-hmm.
Shelter, if nothing else.
She'll kind of stop and just like going to whoever is like next behind her, which I imagine is either Torsten or Yofredir, of the natives. Like, looks like there's a cave over there. Probably best to check it out and see if we can. It's empty to get some rest.
Well, I agree. Even if it's just a little outgrowth, it's better than out here in the open.
Yeah. Yeah, she'll. I would say pass the message to the others as well. And she'll
Yeah.
tell the same thing to Alfred.
We'll telephone it along.
Yeah. And she'll then lead them over to the cave.
Did you play telephone with it? With the message? Or did you turn the snake around and slowly make a circle around everybody?
She's trusting Yofredir and Alfred to pass the message along to the others behind.
All right. Play telephone. Okay.
Yeah.
By telephone.
What can we roll to see what the message is by the time it gets to the back of the... No.
We
All
saw
right.
a dark spot.
You trudge forward, battling against the relentless storm, until at last you reach the entrance to the cave that Lonan spotted. And a break from the blowing snow as the whipping flurries of the snow moves doesn't follow you in. Inside the cave is a very eerie stillness. No movement, no sound, just a vast yawning darkness as it stretches off beyond your 60 foot of dark vision. And for those that can't see 60 feet of dark vision, the black is black. Beyond the reach of Alfred's little light. Despite the shelter from the storm, the cold feels worse in the cave than it did outside. As it creeps into your skin, into your bones, and clinging to the air. More biting than even the freezing winds outside had been. Taking a quick survey of the area around you for those that have dark vision. If you don't have dark vision, you don't see shit. So, those with the dark vision, you see that there are piles and piles above the snow grade. So, there's snow on it, but you can see peeking out above the snow piles and piles of stone. Irregular stones, just like boulders and rocks. That considerable number, we'll put it that way. Too ordered to be natural, but too haphazard to be like some sort of a design or pattern or anything. And those that can see into the cave can see that it just stretches on and on and on through rough hewn walls and a vacant, vast space. Cave itself is about 12 to 15 feet tall, about the same in width, but just a dark abyss that feels devoid of warmth, sound, or sight. What would you like to do?
You know, if it's okay with everybody, it is quite hellish outside. I'd hate to be the only people who would find respite in here. I'm going to take a torch and go any further if anybody wants to just double check with that.
Yofordir would probably wait until everyone else is in and be the last in. And as he enters, he would kind of tap his adze on the ground twice, and then it'll light up, giving light to everyone who can't see. Well, still quite cold in here, but I suppose we're out of the wind. Maybe if we get a fire going, it'll get a bit better. Is it like just like when we walk in? Is it like just straight all the way back, or is there like a turn around a corner or anything?
It seems to. It's not straight. It kind of skews one way than the other, and don't know whether it like ends up ahead or whether it turns.
Before we start going and gallivanting off into a cave, perhaps we set up a base here. Silenus will start right at the entrance of the cave, so the dome will kind of block it.
Okay.
He will cast. He will sit down and ritually cast the Leman's tiny hut.
And Loden will kind of get the horses and reindeer possibly straightened out, watered, whatever feed we have for them.
Cedric will help with that. Good burying where there are gaps.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm presuming that the mounts are on the interior of the cave, with
Yes.
the hut is
Before.
providing a block.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
While they're
The
doing
main-
that, go ahead.
I said that's
Uh,
the main reason for the cave was the mounts.
Yeah, Yofordir would go up to Teasel and be like, "Well, suppose if we're gonna check, make sure further down is clear. Shouldn't go alone. I'll go with."
Sure. Definitely.
Yeah, I'll come along with as well. I can see in the dark if we have our light sources extinguished for some reason.
Oh, I think with mine, it'll free up Teasel's second hand, and it should be okay. But yours is always appreciated as well. A little bit extra light never hurts.
Don't forget to watch the ceilings.
Like for bats?
I mean, that's one of them, yeah?
I don't think they're high enough for a dragon to fly in here.
Right, y'all are above ground, sorry. You know there's plenty of monsters that, like, roost on cave ceilings, right?
Like bats.
Bigger and more deadly.
Well, I don't know about what you have at home, but we have things called Lindslander. But I don't believe we'll find any in here. I'd hope not, at least.
They'll shrug.
The last thing I want to run into tonight. Well,
Fair enough.
let's carry on. Make sure everything's safe. And Yofordir will start walking down and deeper into the cave, kind of using his ass like a walking stick, with just the whole head lit up on the top. So
Send my cat with them.
always gotta be nosy.
Backup.
Yeah.
Yes.
Backup's a great name for a cat.
All right, so
Cheeky,
three and a
cheeky.
half. 3.5 heading further into the cave. What are the others doing?
I'll stay if like the rest of the front line is off exploring the cave, I will stay back here in case anything falls off the ceiling.
Edry, Lona, and Silenus.
I mean, Lona and Zedri taking care of the mounts and then probably just resting afterward.
Okay.
Silenus is watching. This is in Galfrank's eyes.
Okay. So, what are we looking for, folks that are heading into the cave?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that this is not the start of a very expansive cave. If we can just find an exit to it, I mean, monster hunting, people hunting, small creature hunting, that, that's nice and all, but I'm really just making sure that we're not at the beginning of a very large cave system. I don't know why. Last time I don't think we went looking. We just kind of hung out in the front and stuff, but it's a nasty snowstorm. Might not be the only people here.
I'm looking to see what the sort of design, not design that you described, if there's any sort of whereabouts as to the architecture of this cave. So I guess looking for traps in the meantime, though.
All right, so you give me an investigation. Cecil can give a perception. Yofordir?
Could I help Kiesel on the perception?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Ooh, double
Dropped a
19.
19 for a 19.
Either 19 was dirty.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start with the investigation. With 16, kind of checking things over. Every once in a while, you actually find support beams that have been installed in this cave. And with 16, I will say they don't look terribly old. They've been here not a terribly long, maybe less than a year. We'll put it that way.
Fairly new construction.
The other thing you notice is that the path ahead of you, as you're walking, and illuminated by Yofordir's axe, there are considerable footprints and sled tracks in the dirt and dust at the bottom of this cave, on the floor of this cave.
Yeah,
Going in both directions.
Alfred's gonna point out both of these things. First, the tracks. I don't want to alarm either of you, but so I think you might be correct. We might not have been the first people here. It seems like this is quite a traveled path. There's lots of sled tracks, and this might be a very established path by the new construction that's around here. These pillars are basically new. In terms of buildings, I guess.
I know this is a very live off the land type place, but you people mine for resources, right? Like there's mining guilds up here.
Well, a few of the clans are quite avid crafters. DM, from the looks of it, it does look like it's a mine, I'd assume.
Not necessarily. As Alfred's pointing out, the supports, I mean, clearly man-made supports being put in to support the ceiling, but you don't see any sign of anybody's actively been mining anything, or actually any real major signs of ore. Well, give me a roll. We got a roll.
Yeah. What am I rolling?
Investigation, I think.
Alright.
To know what to be looking for and be looking. Ooh, rolled off that,
That was
that
close.
one.
Yay.
14. You don't see any signs of any ore that you would recognize. However, you do see every once in a while, and it's pretty minimal and seldom see it. Every once in a while, there is a glint off of parts of the walls. Just like small little, like seeing Alfred's little light at the far side of a tunnel. Just a tiny little glint as the light hits just the right way. And then as the further you move, then the glint goes away.
So Yover will go to turn to Keith and be like, well, we do mine resources. Some of the clans have some avid crafters. But besides a few possible ores, I'm not sure what they may be. I don't believe this would be a mine. Perhaps something else.
Could Alfred identify the ore in question?
Is Yofrider pointing out the glints?
Yeah, I would have pointed them out. Be like, well,
Okay.
besides the few shiny spots.
Yeah, I
Then
figured I
Alfred, give
could
me
say
a
that.
nature check.
Hold on. Readjust my.
Put my light in the other hand.
Yeah.
Woo! Nice roll. You don't know what it is. It's not something you've ever dealt with before or learned anything about, but clearly some sort of a metal substance that as you get close to it, you get a little bit of a static discharge. A little Sistine Chapel ceiling meeting of the fingers with this ore on the wall.
That's so funny. Well, I've never seen this sort of thing before. Quite interesting. Maybe during the night I could take a look and see about getting some off this wall and figuring out what to do with it.
Nice.
See no reason why not. Maybe useful to us somehow.
There's always
Okay.
something more to be learned.
Going back to Kiesel's perception check.
Yeah.
Don't find any threats. Don't find any things of note beyond the things you guys have already been talking about with the ore on the wall and the supports and the footprints. The path is one continuous path. There is no cave system. Do not find caves to any large degree heading in any other direction. There's like a couple times where it seems like a cave started to be potentially dug in one direction, but it doesn't make it more than 5 feet before it goes back to the main channel.
And are we nearing the end of this main channel, or is it just going and going and going?
it just keeps going. Depends on how far you want to go.
I mean, if I'm getting the vibe that it's not coming to a close anytime soon, and we're just walking a straight line for 10 miles, I'll call it. If
Yeah, it
that's the
doesn't
case.
seem like it's turning back away or anything that would be leading towards an exit. Give me a survival check there, Kiesel. You're good at those, right?
Diesel, how far do you think this goes? Do you think it goes straight through the mountain?
Kiesel's not sure which direction he's facing it. Been walking in a tunnel for too damn long with no landmarks to work off of. That maybe we're heading back to the front. Don't really know where you're going.
How far back? We were heading forward.
No, I mean, no. Never mind.
Were we not just walking in the direction back to camp?
No. You
Oh.
are quite mistaken.
Impossible. But I'll take your word for it.
I would hope so.
Then I guess we should go back and Keith will do a full 360.
You mean a 180?
No, he does a full 360. No, a 360 turn. We should head. You were keeping track of where we were, right?
Yes, Kiesel.
Then lead the way.
Okay. Approximately how long were we walking before we turned back?
5 minutes.
5 minutes? Okay,
Yeah. 150 feet.
sure. Yeah, Alfred will lead Kiesel and Jofridir back. Well, and as we get back to where the ore was, he'll turn to both of them and say, "Well, I might take a minute here. You guys can head on back if you want, but I just want to see how much of this I can collect before I need to go to bed, I guess."
Oh,
Is it a
suppose
pretty? No, go ahead.
I suppose if anything happens, just yell. Sure, we'll hear you.
Yeah, it's a cave. I'm sure we could hear a lot.
That's a pretty mineral that you have, different from rocks. It's, you said it was electric?
Oh, I got a little static shock when I went up to it. But it seems to be some metallic thing in nature. Something kind of hard and dense. Might be, depending on the flexibility of it and the malleability, it might be a good like structural material, or it might be a good conductor.
That'd be a cool thing that you can make if it's like a reactive metal. You can make that into a ring or a brooch. You could give it to your like sister when you see her. Fuck, what's her name?
God, I really blanked on my sister's name. Hate my life.
Check the lore document
Literally.
that you made.
You mean Alana?
Yes, Alana. Does that take Alfred very quickly to respond to, or does he pull up the lore document in his brain on that one as well?
Ooh.
How quick is Alfred to remember Alana's name?
I think the question of his sister takes him off a little, or by surprise. So approximately the amount of time it takes to readjust oneself to, oh yes, I have a sister.
Yes, just because I know it's been so long and she's been deployed. I don't know if that's the right word.
Well, last I heard, she's on the front lines, and things are quite tense on at the moment.
Yeah, but that was like 6 months ago, right? A
Right,
couple months
we've-
ago. Weren't we in Maidenthorn when we heard about that?
Well, it's been some time, yeah. And then we decided to come here So, hopefully, after we get Yofridir's family um, back together, I could perhaps see about checking in with her.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like I said, that'd be a good gift. I have trouble keeping up with family as well, but Isabel, Mara, and Ahmed, I think about them all the time, so yeah, it can catch you off guard.
Right. I guess I just got a little caught up and haven't thought about Lana or Rutherford in a minute.
Kiesel will, and then walk on.
Is Alfred attempting to harvest some of this?
Yeah, he'll try and get some of this this metal.
Use this all-purpose pickaxe.
Yeah, I mean, he's always got the tool ready at hand. The right tool for the job, one might say.
Okay. You're able to get a little bit of the metal. It's kind of a blue-black metal, but it has a first touch. You get that static charge, and then nothing after that. You get a piece. Oh, size of your pinky finger. That's about all there is.
And that's like all that I could harvest until like I would have to go to bed.
No, that's like that one location that you find it. Like each little piece is that big or smaller. You can
It's
get
about-
little bits.
Yeah. Okay.
There's no real vein of it.
Right. Okay, I see what you mean. It's like smaller versions if you watched Avatar: The Last Airbender and were like in the Earth Kingdom underground and you saw those like pretty crystals lining everything.
Mm-hmm.
But like just tiny versions ish, I guess.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
finding these little occasional pieces that are in the wall, and there's that hope. Hey, I'm gonna chip away at this, and I'm gonna find more behind it. But it's you come up empty each time. I'm not gonna make you roll to harvest it. So back at the mouth of the cave, Mount's taken care of.
So remind me. So they walked. Did they hit a dead end, or did they just kept going and decided to stop going
They decided
forward?
to stop.
Okay.
Weren't finding an exit, which is what Kiesel was looking for, is whether there was another exit.
They're only 150 feet away.
That's all the further they went. Yeah.
Okay. If they turn to go back, Galfrank's gonna hop off Kiesel's shoulder and keep going deeper into the cave.
Okay.
His torch
What's
still
your
doing
range?
anything? Oh,
So, what's the range on you keep continuing to look through?
The way that we've ruled it before is that if I'm looking through his eyes, I can keep looking, but if he gets out of my range, I can't give him commands anymore. All he can do is keep moving in the direction or do the last command that I gave him.
Okay. What's the last command?
I'll just keep moving, keep going into the cave until you hit a dead end.
Okay. All right. So while Silenus is looking at his eyelids, as far as anybody else is seeing, what are the rest of you doing at the mouth of the cave? You started to say something.
I was wondering what Torsten was doing.
Um. I think he's just sort of. Honestly, I think he's just sort of sat there, sort of quietly, just like lost in his own thoughts. He's not doing anything like specific. He's just like, this is. He's still like sort of like keeping an eye out, but it's almost as if he's doing it sort of like not actively. Almost, he just sort of sat there. This is like outside of like making camp like other times, but then there's also like been watch stuff like that. This is the first time he's had to just sort of not have to do anything in a while. I think after like the encounter that they had on the road, and then what he thinks is happening there, he's just sort of working through his own thoughts on the matter. Then I guess like there's all these you said there's all these piles of stone near the entrance, not not like put on purpose, but not like clearly not natural.
Yeah.
So, does
There's
it
no
look like,
design
so,
to it, but
yeah,
it's
so it
clearly
looks
not
like
natural.
it's just like detritus from mining. Like, it feels like someone's been clearing out this,
Could
and it's
be.
just, yeah, people not wanting to go all the way back to the cave entrance. Yeah, yeah. He's trying to figure out if there is like a cave or a mine here. You know, why? It's not built like a mine for like getting ore. It doesn't have like the different caves and stuff to spread out in the area. It looks like someone's dug it with a destination in mind, almost. Not a cave, but just a passageway. And now he's also looking at the ceiling every now and again, because you can never be too sure. Could be bats.
Zedru's gonna wander over, and he is bundled up in his robes and his cold weather wear and the scarf that Lonan made him, like bundled up thrice around his throat, and then also the crow cloak like on top. And he just has like a small like leather bound case with him. But he's gonna walk up to Torsten and just say, "Hey, Torsten, I had a question for you."
Yes. What is it? How can I help?
The cold. It honestly feels worse inside of here than it did outside. And rather than try to find a solution myself, I thought that I would inquire with somebody who's lived in this place most of their life.
Does this cold feel? Does this cold feel unnatural? Like not in the same way that like
Describe unnatural.
yeah,
What are you
okay.
meaning
So
when you
like
say unnatural?
obviously the temperature will be low, but wind chill would make everything feel colder anyway. With the lack of wind, the temperature should go up. At least it should feel like it's gone up. Though I guess you'd have that feeling when you came out of the cold and the wind, where you'd start to get warm anyway.
From
Your
that
skin would sort of
perspective,
recover.
yes,
Yeah.
it would definitely be unnatural that it shouldn't be like this.
Yeah, I think that's So just like this isn't how it usually. It should be warmer in here, outside of the wind. It should be warmer. This doesn't feel. This doesn't feel right.
But it's still more bearable for you than I'm sure any of the rest of us.
Yeah, but in the same way that if we went to where you are from, I assume, I would be just so warm. But even for me, this is cold.
Okay. I practice acupuncture, and from how I understand, I can stimulate the blood flow in people, but that can only raise heat a slight bit. I was wondering if you'd let me test on you and Zidri will pull open the leather pouch, and it's just all of his acupuncture needles.
Do I know what acupuncture is?
Medicine check.
Excellent.
I'm
Thank
just showing this man my needle collection.
Technically, it should be probably a medicine intelligence check.
you. Well, in that case, just
No,
take off.
Nat
off the-
1 anyway. We're good.
Take off the +1.
Uh,
So be intelligent. So I just look at all the needles, and I think there's a moment where I'm just like, Cedric seems very earnest in this moment. I don't know what acupuncture is, but you know, I'm a dad. I'm just like, sure. What do you do with your needles?
Oh, go ahead and insert them epidermally. So it goes into the skin.
He's just nodding at this stage. He's just like, okay, okay.
I figure, I mean, it could also assist if you have any muscle pain. I mean, how long did you say you were down in that pit? And you haven't necessarily gotten to do anything outside of stretching in the cold, which is already a strenuous activity.
I think some of the aches and pains are well won in my body through a lifetime of exertion, but I will admit that some of the pains are new. So, yes, dab my epiderm.
Okay. Zidra will approach and just realize Torsten is so muscular. And
He'll take off like the crow cloak and then like remove the armor. So he's literally just shirtless in the cold, just like, okay.
Okay. Zidra's gonna like take one of the needles out, and he's just gonna like slightly trace across, just so he can find and like a grid out Torsten's back, and then he's mostly gonna go for shoulder aches and pains, and then see if he can go ahead and help to like regulate blood flow in this kind of unnatural cold, so that it isn't so biting.
Just for clarification, I'd say, Lonan, you see all of this going on.
Oh, Lonan, like, she sat down to, like, try to knit, but as she's kind of, like, been kind of the similar thing as, like, Torsten glancing around, like, there's something off with this, she's started pacing. She's kind of watching them, but she's, like, caves are literally her home, and this one feels weird.
Do I see Lonan knitting?
Yeah, I mean, she's been pretty open about it the last, like, almost every time we've taken her ass, she'll sit down and at least try to knit for a little bit.
I think when you pull out like the needles for it, he sort of looks at them, and then looks back, and just goes. It's like leans like crooks his neck back to Zedrin. He's just like, "Are those for more advanced epiderm or?"
No, the Danis is like the skin.
I am joking. I do not know what acupuncture is, but I know what a knitting needle is.
Oh. And Zedri like has one of the needles like in, and he's like, yeah, and it's like such a delicate hand that he's trying not to shake. This dude's cracking jokes while he's getting acupuncture, which, I mean, good acupuncture, you shouldn't feel it, but very on par with just like chatting up a tattoo artist.
I'm drawing on my experience with getting tattooed, which is where I just talk to the tattoo artist the entire time.
Yeah, it's the best time to do it.
Yeah, you'd literally have a captive audience.
Yeah, no,
From both ways. If they decide to talk to you as well,
yeah,
you ain't going anywhere.
and they're stabbing you while doing so.
So I know that I can maintain a conversation while being stabbed repeatedly by small needles.
You can fall asleep
Alright.
during that.
Yeah.
Alfred, Kiesel, and Joferdir, would be getting back late in this acupuncture experiment.
Covered in needles. I just turned to Joffrey and I'm just like, your friend is stabbing me.
Did y'all
It
find
is-
anything?
Relief.
About how many stones did I retrieve of these
Roll
blue
me a
black
d8.
metal? Oh, okay. Heard. Come on.
3.
3. Alfred in his hand will have 3 bluish blackish metallic pieces about finger length.
Was
Well, I found some metal that I don't recognize, so that's interesting. Um, but other than that, it's just a long tunnel, and I know that I'm not necessarily accustomed to this entire country, um, and its climate, but it gets ridiculously cold as you go down the hall there.
it
It's
so
so much colder.
silver?
Mhm.
So God, I'm trying to think. I know, like, obviously, Lonan lives in caves underneath a desert, but once again, going deeper, would a cave system get, like, that much noticeably colder?
Give me a survival or a nature.
Go with survival. Actually, it's the same thing, but oof.
15? That doesn't sound right.
I mean, it's gonna pause. There could be an opening at the other end that is sending a breeze through. Or could be something deep in there that is causing this. Did y'all see anything out of the ordinary?
Nope, just cave and rocks.
Well, no, there were support pillars that were made within the last year or so. Um,
Yeah,
and it
Did the
seems like there
cave
was a lot of traffic coming through here. There's a lot of foot traffic and sleds of the like.
did the
Uh,
so we're looking for a group that is hiding out in these mountains? What if we found the road to their place?
There is no settlement that I know of down this route.
We know they're staying somewhere. They have a whole hell lot of people to hide.
This is not a natural cave. It is
No.
carved by people's hands.
And if there's support and evidence that people have been coming through here, they've been using this as a byway.
the support structures seemed like they were made within the last year or so. They're basically brand new.
That would that might line up with a lot of the timelines.
And we just blocked the entrance to said cavern?
Not only that, but we're planning on resting here like a bunch of sitting ducks.
you know, on the bright side, there's not exactly a reliable transportation system if we blocked off this entrance. Think about how many cultists will freeze to death. Less of a problem, less of a hassle.
That's if they're not already on. That's if they're not already on the other end of this Kiesel.
Then good, they're trapped in here with us. And
Yeah,
we
I'll
can.
pause this conversation for a moment. Finish, Kiesel. Go ahead.
We have our backs to the walls with spellcasters and fireballs. I fail to see the problem.
Okay. I'm going to interrupt and have everybody Jeffin except for Conrad.
We did it.
Yep, we figured
Chat.
out.
Cat, did we do it?
Yeah.
All right. Silenus, as you are watching through the eyes of Galfrank. Galfrank continuing down the cave. 50 foot, another 50 foot, another 50 foot. Just keeps going on and on and on. Before the winding path finally opens into a vast round chamber, as you see surrounding this chamber are 11 stone columns encircling the perimeter of this chamber. Some are crumbled, partially dismantled, damaged, collapsed. Others are still fairly well intact. They are all appear to be very finely carved and put together. And because of the viewpoint you have with Galfrank being down on the ground, you see that at the base of each of these columns is a figure prostrate, hands out. It appears to be a dwarven figure that then the column rises on their backs, and they are all pointed. The ones that are still intact are all pointed towards the center of this chamber. But more focus goes to at the far side of the chamber, nestled in between two of these columns, two that appear to be fairly well intact, is a large stone circular formation, circular arrangement of stone panels on the wall that appear to have some sort of glyphs or markings on them. And as you get that, Galfrank turns around and goes back because Galfrank has hit a dead end.
Oh, I'm so excited. This is exactly what I hoped it was. I was so hoping that this was an altar to the Winter Queen. Oh, I really hope it is.
Yeah, we'll go back to everybody else because you can pop out of your ward. So
yeah.
Just gotta wait for Ernie to get back.
Linus, you see him as he's kind of eyes closed, maybe looking like he's meditating. He just starts wildly smiling.
I guess
and he opens his
clarification: are people in the hut or outside of the hut?
Oh yeah, I guess that's fair.
Because Silenus has to be in the hut, so he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone.
I assumed the acupuncture was going on and the knitting was going on inside the hut.
Yeah.
Torsten
That
was
would be courteous.
outside of the hut, and Zedric and him.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
And yeah,
Lonan
Lonan was
was in.
pacing around. She tried to knit, but she ended up pacing.
Oh.
Peaceful, are you in the hut or out of the hut?
At this point, I'm in the hut, like Jabba the Hutt.
We could say that we're like moving the argument or our discussion into the hut. So like a couple of us are walking in there.
No, I like the idea that
is he-
Cecil's the only one that sees Silenus, so he's just like wildly smiling.
No, I've transitioned into the hut. Bring me Solo on the Wookiee.
Silenus stands up and pulls on all of his extra outer gear, his cloak and bundles up, and steps out of the hut, which causes it to drop.
Hey, what the fuck?
Torsten, Aliona had said something a couple of weeks ago, back when we first got to when we first got here. Do you know anything about the fairy tale about the Winter Queen, the Queen of Winter?
Hey, Sova.
Give me a history check.
Will do. It's
The
one of those
Great
good
Equalizer.
rolls. The Great Equalizer, as we said before. I may live here, but I don't learn anything.
American moment.
Did it happen in my small town? No? Then no.
Plains, Iowa.
With an 11? No, never heard Winter Queen. At least nothing nothing beyond like a passing kind of a Jack Frost type comment.
I've
It's
heard
like,
the.
oh yeah, but
Yeah.
nipping
I've
at
heard
your
the,
nose.
I've heard the name,
Silenus,
but why?
what are you suggesting?
That I'm going to get my conversation with the Queen of Winter. And he's like grabbing his stuff and he's heading down. He is in a state right now. He is heading into the cave.
Okay. Um. Uh.
Is
I'm going with him at least. I don't want him to get killed. Yes, alone, like grab her stuff and start following him, being like, "Silenus, just explain to us what's going on."
There.
I'm sorry, you're cutting out.
Oh, there's an altar there, and it gets colder as we get deeper.
Everybody, grab your gear. We're moving.
I gesture to the hundreds of needles in my back.
Zedri is
just-
quickly like taking them all out.
Let's just-
hold up. We just got done with an entire day of traveling. We are. I'm exhausted.
That we can carry you. I can
Well,
carry you.
no, if you are Alfred, I will not put you in any danger if you think that you are not prepared for this. And
I mean, if any of us continue, we're gonna incur being exhausted.
Yeah, you're not willing to put any of us in danger, but you just dropped the hat.
I mean, you could put it back up.
Yes, if you give me a few minutes, I will put it back up.
But you have to stay inside of it, and you want to go check this out.
No, I will be back.
I
I
think
don't-
this is a group effort, everybody. I'm gonna be honest with you.
We're not letting you go down there alone, first of all. And second of all, you need just as much rest as the rest of us, if not more. An altar ain't gonna grow legs and walk away. If it does, we have
Maybe,
bigger
maybe not.
problems.
Or it could choose to unreveal itself to him if he takes his time.
Silliness, I think that everybody here, except for you, has the patience to wait. And if you don't, I would very much hazard that you go ahead and stick with the rest of the group.
Oh, come on. We just did some
What
walking. Did
if
anybody
it
shoot up?
isn't? What if it isn't there when we wake up?
Is this something that someone reached out to you? Or is this from Aurora?
Right. Okay. Can you explain
Uh,
what you saw? What you know?
Galfrank. Doesn't seem like it was that long. Probably comes back, walking back from the deeper end. There was there was an altar, some sort of stone pillars with designs on them, and in between them there was another kind of stone circular altar there.
Clarification: the circular thing is on the wall.
On the wall, sorry. Oh yes, with like designs on it. Yes.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Silenus. We are quite literally chasing down a group that we think is using the veneer of a cult to do some pretty bad things. And this is a not very This is a very new cave dug. Does that not ring any alarm bells to you?
So wait, do you want to go to
No,
sleep
no,
where
the
these alarm bells are going off, or do you want us to investigate like what's going on right now?
the
What are you?
pillars
What are you
in there
suggesting?
were not new. They were old. They were old. Some of them were falling from age. I think whatever this is, they re-excavated it.
No, Silenus, I don't know if you didn't know because you were in the dome, but there's some recent pillars that were put up within the last year or so, and there's a lot of tracks and sled marks that are going through this cave.
No, I was there. I saw the ones at the end though. They're not new.
So, where do you think the tracks going in are going to? That's what I'm saying. Like, just, I'm just saying that, alright, let's say they excavated it. We're walking right into their lair then.
There weren't any people there.
Who's to say that it wasn't a gate like what happened with Vibe and St. Glue?
Who?
Oh, the
A
Blood
fairy
Lord.
tale, a fairy tale creature, blood god, lots of blood.
He he teleported us over the mountains.
Yeah. You start to realize why they question why I question anything they say. Sometimes you just gotta nod and go along with it.
Orson resolves that his kid's just been doing drugs with bad people.
Just like,
Uh,
just like you try and raise them right, and they end up going off with fairy tale blood gods.
We didn't intend to go off with the fairy tale blood god, but that's beside the point.
All you can do is support them as they make their choices.
So, are we going or not? Did anybody shoot any fireballs? Did anybody use any high strenuous magic? Or are we just going to sit here, sleep, and then hopefully, one, nobody rolls up on us. Two, this divine intervention or whatever Selena's found is going to hopefully not unreveal itself in mysterious ways. Because the way I look at it, I mean, I just walked what felt like hours down there. We should be making a move right now. This we talked about getting gripped with fear and paralysis on making a decision. This is the opportunity to redeem that. We should move as a unit. If it's exhaustion, if it's whatever, if it ends up just being a cave with an old altar, we don't find anything, then we could go back to sleep. But the way that I see it, why are we not making haste at this at once? The dome's
You
gone.
you said
well,
that you said that you felt like at the end the tunnel was old.
yes.
So what you're saying is the entrance to this place was closed off and then has been re-excavated in an area we know is active with these people we fear are in a cult. And you want to talk to the Winter Lady in the re-excavated secret chamber in a mountain that's, as far as we know, related to the cult and the storm that is growing ever worse.
Cedric's clapping. Someone finally gets
Uh,
it!
That about sums it up. Yes.
That doesn't seem like a wise decision.
Let me
It's
put it this
not.
way.
That's the problem.
If you think that this thing is dangerous, would you not want to do it now, when we have access to all of our resources? We have not cast very much magic. We're still in good health. Or do you want to deal with it in the morning and then immediately have to leave after dealing with it and go deal with said cult.
It's not a matter of when it gets dealt with, it's a matter of whether or not dealing with it is something that we want to do. It's not a matter of haste, it's not a matter of delaying, it is a matter of if this is something that you think either you or us are capable of defeating. You, I do not know the story of this Lady of Winter, but if she is responsible for this, she seems very powerful. And
From
someone
what
you
Alyona
should be
told
careful
us, she's essentially the bringer of winter. She's the bringer of snow. Apparently, some legends say she was pretty good with people. I'd never read anything myself, but what Alyona told us. I still think that, no offense, guys, but your track record, including mine, I'll throw myself in this after the Vibe and Sangloot thing, of dealing with old gods ain't exactly the best.
That's why
Just
people shouldn't.
Gonna throw that out there.
How many old gods?
I
have you
think at
dealt
the
with?
end,
So far, all of us included 3.
I think, to be fair, I think by the end, Glut was a net positive.
Well,
And he
yeah,
said,
you're right.
or it said that the Winter Queen was very friendly and fond of people.
Is this the person who, the old blood god who kidnapped you?
Well, the thing I
With
think happened at the altar.
with
I
legends
don't know if
from
it was
my
intentional or not.
with legends from my childhood that tells you not to mess with them.
I'm on team priorities, and I really don't think that leaving your love letter with the postal service down at the end of this tunnel is actually going to help us with anything. If we know that this is here and we confirmed that something was dug up, then we have more than enough information to go after the very much alive people who have been kidnapped and could have literally been made into toys if that's what this god is actually fond of. I think your idea of fondness does not mean coddling in the way of kindness, but it could be an oppressive domination of willpower. Just the same.
I think what we need is we just traveled a whole day through a fucking blizzard. We need sleep. We need to rest. We're going crazy.
I'm gonna look at Silenus, and then to Kiesel, and then back to Lone, and just say, you do know that if we try and sleep, they will go anyway, right?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Then, I mean,
Well, here's the
I can't
question.
lie. I'm curious as well. But
I mean, I'm curious, but I'm also trying to be realistic here.
Well, being realistic is understanding that we're going to get jumped when we open our eyes in the morning. If this is like a cave and we're at the the last conversation that we had before I went into the dome, before the dome dropped, was that this is a cave of possibly the entrance to this mysterious place that's not on the map, then we're going to essentially set up a tent in front of someone's front door. This is not only an opportunity to check out something weird, but also maybe even get the jump on someone who's going to get the jump on us. Unless you want to be awoken with 13 mindless, brainless individuals who are then kidnap us, which, I'm not saying we couldn't get away out of that situation. But this is like priority.
I was under the impression that the dome under which you sleep, people could not enter.
No.
Or can anybody go in?
They can't enter, but they can sure wait outside and go, we've been in this cave 1,000 times. That's weird. Here's a magical dome.
And we
Let's
can
just
have a
wait until
watch
whoever's.
order. What kind of problems are you thinking of that we can't address? Obviously, the two courses of action that are most viable is we go ahead and have the hut reconjured, and we go ahead and take our rest here so that we can go ahead and head further down into the bottleneck in the morning. Or, if we are that desperate, the answer is not to go into this cave, but rather to further into the bottleneck, whatever valley this place is.
Plus, we always have someone on watch. If someone was trying to sneak up on or trying to come up on us, we could give ourselves a warning in time to prepare before they attacked us and the dome went down.
Unless they're very sneaky about it. No one here is sneakier than you, Lon. And before we met you, there were some pretty sneaky people.
Like you said, we're literally in their front door. They ain't going anywhere except for in past us.
There. But if this is our only chance,
Silenus, please make the hut.
Linus, what makes you think that we're not going to be able to get there later? Is there something you saw?
no, but it's happened before.
Can I
When?
ask you?
Not
Can I
ominous.
ask you, Silenus? When you speak of wanting to talk with the Lady of Winter, you do not speak with the tone of someone who wants to stop the storm ravaging my land. You speak with the excitement of someone who is fulfilling a dream.
I'm not sure if this conversation would stop the storm or not. But it might answer some questions we've been asking ourselves for weeks. And it might give us the information we need to know what we're walking into when we finish walking up that mountain.
I'll walk up to Silenus. I'm still like I probably still have needles in my bag.
Zedru's behind,
there is
like taking him
yeah.
out.
I have
You also
I have
probably have at least 2 feet
yeah,
on him.
I have 2 feet. I'm wearing no shirt. It is freezing cold. I literally just walk up and I sort of like put it like a hand on your arm, and I just say, if it will not fix what is troubling this land, and will not bring me back my family as well as those who are also lost, do you understand why I feel no pull?
I do.
I guess another question, Silenus, is what are you hoping to accomplish?
So then, let me ask you a very pointed question.
All right.
You started traveling with us because you are trying to save your husband. The last one of these beings we spoke to promised their help in fighting back Kerzorath and working to get your husband back. Would you not want to at least try and check to see if this one would too?
I don't trust that any god we have chosen to forgotten would join our side at all. We don't know anything about them. I don't even trust Rabbins and Glute. Let's be real here. We don't know what they're after. They played with us. And I'm one of the ones who got out of that situation relatively unscathed. Except for, it was really thirsty afterwards. Besides the point. You know what I would do to save my husband, but I don't know if this is the right. I don't know if this will actually do anything for us.
Well, then we'll never know. We will never know. That's the issue.
Right now, our goal, our focus, is we are saving your family. He looks up at Torsten. But after we do that, we have more goals.
I do not wish
And
to.
we need
I do
more
not wish to
allies.
stop your. I do not wish to stop your goals. If your goal is to put that ahead of saving my family, I would not begrudge that of you. It's everybody makes their own choices. We had this discussion. Everybody chooses the way in which they act. I have my son trusts all of you. I know him well enough to know that trust has to be earned. And if this is what you think, I do not think this altar will disappear. I feel like it was uncovered again for a reason. I do not think it will disappear after a rest. But your choices are your own, as they should be. But I only asked you to consider why you're making the choice. That is all.
No, I appreciate it.
And I'll walk back over to Zedra and sort of sit back down in front of him. And he'll awkwardly he'll just pull out one of the needles.
Yeah, Zedri just has like the whole leather pouch, and he just has one that he like has in his hands. He's like mumbling an infernal.
Literally, if you would like me to make the hut again, I will make it. But if you do not go tonight, I would like to go in the morning.
Go in the morning. I think we all just need to rest.
So long as you can look down, anything that happens to Torsten and Yofridi's family, knowing that this could have been prevented, then that's fine by me.
This will sit down again where Torsten has sat and ritually casting the tiny hut again.
We'll try and like raise an arm, realize that there's a bunch of needles still in sort of like the back. So like, just put like a hand on your shoulder and just be like, it is good to do things with friends.
Torsten sat in front of Zedri, right? Like, face to face? Okay. Then yeah, Zedri will, noticing the arm, hearing the tingling of the different needle tips, like, hitting each other, Torsten would see that the one that Zedri has been kind of rubbing his fingers on, the dull glow that was on it starts to dissipate before he goes ahead and starts putting up the rest of the needles.
Kitty cat.
All right. Settle in for our long rest. Now that the hut's up.
Guess so.
Yeah.
Okay. Watch. Only two directions to look.
Yeah.
I'll take first watch. I'll look outside if that's where the most visibility is. I don't know. I'm a stupid human, so what do I know?
Silenus will take first watch too.
Well, and it'll take second.
I'll take the last watch.
Zedri will go third?
Alfred will take with Cedric.
Joffrey, you're joining Lonan or Torsten? Party vote, I suppose.
I can go with
Jeff
Torsten.
had to step away.
Yeah,
Hang out with his
makes
dad.
sense. Yeah.
Got some bonding time with my son.
Yeah.
You could talk for both sides of the conversation.
It's just a series of almost non-vocal grunts. It's just
Like father, like son.
Holds out dagger.
yeah.
Mhm,
This dagger.
The dagger starts grunting.
Yeah. I was like, ah.
God dang it, Bobby.
All right. First watch group. Kiesel and Silenus, somebody want to give me a perception check with advantage?
That
for
could
it.
be Selena. Oh, me? Oh,
I'm giving it to you.
oh no. Oh, buddy.
I think I have a worse perception than you, so.
Is that true?
Your wisdom's lower than mine? Doesn't matter. Dirty 20.
Oh no,
full of those
I guess it's the
tonight.
same. I guess it's the same.
You took that not very wise thing too personally, then.
You settle in for your watch. It's snowing outside. Snow keeps getting deeper. It's not snowing inside. And it's nice and temperature controlled inside the hut.
On the outside, I'm not seeing any lights. I'm not seeing any caravans. I'm not seeing any hi-ho, OAO, you know.
All
nothing.
quiet on the southern front.
Oh, fuck me. I could have been inside then. Fucking freeze my ass off.
Silenus, if you went
don't need to get
outside,
out.
Silenus is immediately going to say, "What are you doing? Get back inside the hut."
I just want to make sure that no one is coming the same way that we did. No, it's 2 times cold. Okay. So did you take this watch with me so you can go?
No.
That's bullshit. It fucking sucks. What the hell?
Well,
Make...
I can't go.
Oh. I could go?
I mean, I can't leave the hut.
I know. Well, I would love to run off on my own and get touched by something magical and have an experience. I got lost walking 5 minutes that way, turned around, and had to get Alfred, of all people, to help bring me back. As much as I would like to go off and take care of this and be honest with you, the time we all spent yelling at each other, we could have been there and back.
Look, yeah, I just don't know. I don't understand.
How, what? No, it's just, very hushed. Make a decision. Don't make a decision. Be risk adverse. Don't be risk adverse. Take risks. Go fuck yourself. You know, just stay in the hut. Exhaustion? I didn't see spells getting casted. That's the part that really scratches my brain.
Yes, I mean, they were tired. And I mean, who am I to begrudge them that? And I might not even be right. That, like, I hope I am, but I don't know what the symbology of this myth is about this being.
All we've met on this grand adventure of fairy tales that are supposed to not exist or to be dead. One was even given a proper name. Was your cat meowing?
Sorry. I was half tempted to send him back there. I'm half tempted when we're done to go back to Ashmain.
Do what?
Ask some more questions.
We need to find another oracle. We need to do a lot of shit, Silenus. My God, we need to do a lot of shit.
Kiesel, do you remember the old lady in the woods that Zedri took us to see?
Yes, Zedri said that we shouldn't go see again.
Well,
Oh,
she
you.
she answered some of my questions. And part of me wonders if she is one of these old powers.
Or someone who's directly benefited from.
Yes. I think if we brought the proper gift, she would help.
A gift is a gift like a lump of change, or like a virgin and 4 cloves of garlic and some parsley for some weirdo ritual. Hey, you met with her more than I did, so I don't know, but I hear witch in the hut, and I think of a big lady with a pot and a stew.
I brought her some tea. I mean, it's more of
Oh,
as a
well,
thank you for helping us the last time, but
oh, well, if she's not wanting to put children in a house and eat them,
no,
then
I don't think she wants to put children in a house, Kiesel. But perhaps a rare book or something of interest, of note. Perhaps perhaps half of a necromancer's staff that we probably don't want to be carrying around anyways. I don't know. I understand where they're coming from. I really do, but don't you want to know? Don't you want to know what is really going on?
yes, and I think you and I have discussed many times before, we are but very small pieces on a very elaborate game of fifth dimensional underwater dragon's chest. Very small pieces. I'm talking the pieces have dragon chest in front of them, playing dragon chest, fifth dimensionally. So I think fully understand that we are just too in over our head, and there are things going on that we might not be able to even comprehend. And the fact that this could be a lead, look, and it's not even the esoteric shit that really upsets me. It's the inaction. You either do it or you don't. We half-assed Maidenthorn, and I know you think about that a lot. We half-assed it,
No,
and something got fucked up. And now we're so afraid of making decisions that we're not going to have or full-ass anything. Now we just kind of sit and talk about it. Now we just kind of no-ass it. And that's what really upsets me. Even the people on the road, we either kidnap them and get some information out of them, or we just don't think about it and keep moving on. Weird coincidence. But we can't just sit here and just deliberate for 30, 40 minutes walking in the fucking snow, what we should have done. There's action to be taken. I am up and ready, and let's take care of it. Let's go. I don't want to be sitting on my ass thinking about what we should have done when there's a whole town full of zombie fungi spore people. That's the part that I don't like. So you say, there's this, there's that. I am jumping up. I am right with you. Let's take care of it. Let's go. Do it now. I don't know if this is some divine revelation or if this is a chance and we go down there and then it's going to be gone tomorrow. The higher powers can be very fickle with how they want to or when they want to reveal things. So I fully understand. I'm with you on this. Please say something. I've been talking too much.
Just trying to think ahead for the future. And if it comes to it, in the morning, the two of us will go investigate this place. And the others can stay here and wait if they so wish.
Kiesel nervously fumbles around with like a cigarette and just thinking. Just thinking. One of the last ones on this trip.
I know we haven't gotten much time lately, but I do, as always, appreciate you. Appreciate your help, your support.
All the way. Have you... maybe I should save this for later. I just thought of a very funny joke, but I don't know if you need to hear it more, or Lonan and Sidri need to hear it more. And I'm almost afraid that it would go over Torsten's head.
No, absolutely save it for them in the morning.
Ah,
Silenus scoots a little bit closer, and just kind of very, like, kind of puts his arm around Kiesel while they keep watch.
And Kisa will lean in up until the horn starts like poking a little too much on his skin.
All right. Before you know it, 2 hours are up. It's time to switch watch to Lonan.
I'll make my perception check.
Finally.
We
Finally.
did it.
Now we're gonna get jumped. Oh boy, here it comes. Here comes the jump.
It's still an
No one's gonna-
11.
No one's gonna jump us in the impenetrable hut.
Lonan's restless first 2 hours of sleep has been followed by waking up to nervous energy over the standoff that was going on before rest
Yeah.
for the night, and is a little bit distracted.
No, yeah. Selena's trying to use Saving Arlo against Lonan. It definitely has her kind of like a little anxious. Very much did I make the right decision sort of energy. She's pacing. As much as you can pace in the tiny hut.
It's a good sized tiny hut. It's actually probably bigger than any actual tiny hut, so.
It's a
Yeah.
big tiny.
Yeah.
But despite your Nat 1 11 perception check, or maybe because of it, you don't see anything. Everything seems all quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And before long, your 2 hours are up, and it's time to switch to Zedri Alfred.
She'll wake him up. Guess so.
Anything out there?
Not that I saw, but I will be completely honest with y'all and say I was not as oh, what's the word? I literally can't think of the word. Shit.
Alert?
Yeah, I wasn't as alert as I normally am.
Well, we're still all here, so no worries.
Yeah.
Get some rest.
Thank you. I shall lay down, get some rest.
Would you like to see?
Zidri's stepping under the hood.
He's asking for this shit, dude.
Yeah, no, Zedri's gonna go sit by like the stones that were like out front, kind of like set aside, where Torsten and he were earlier. But he'll go ahead and look. Sure.
Yeah, just for clarification, so that I think I understand this, and this awful question coming from the DM, but with the tiny hut, there's not an actual entrance. It's you guys can pass through any wall of it,
Mhm.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. So it blocking the door is no big deal for you. It's anybody
Yeah.
else.
No, that's intentional.
And the mounts. You got them
Yes.
penned in.
Yes.
They're safe.
Good. Yeah,
They're all playing poker at whatever
Beautiful.
Galfrank found at the end of the cave.
They're playing Dragon Chess, actually.
5D dragon chess.
24. Keep your eyes peeled, ears pricked. and it's quiet other than the whistle of the wind. And watching the snow continue to pile and pile upon the already large pile of snow that is outside.
Citra's gonna look for 2 sizable stones, and then he's just gonna go ahead and like sit and like start grinding them together a little bit.
Do you need a hand there? I might have some tools that might make that a little easier.
No, it's fine. I mean, back home I'd have an actual mortar and pestle, but it's really good for keeping the hands busy. Just don't understand why every 2 steps forward we have to take 3 steps back, you know?
Yeah, it does seem like there's a lot of different poles in this group. We'll make a decision and then the next moment we're making the opposite decision.
Your use of we is very kind.
Well, I say we as a group. I mean, ultimately, even if it's just a couple of us, we all end up in the same situation. I mean, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, at one point, like, I was the first one to say it. Like, I was exhausted, but at the same time, I could understand Silenus's fervor, I guess.
You mentioned you were curious about it too. But would you be willing to put everybody at risk just because of your curiosity?
Well, I mean, I'm sitting here, aren't I?
Exactly.
I don't think that I would be that type of person. I don't think that maybe Silenus would be that type of person either, necessarily.
Really?
Not intentionally. I don't think that he necessarily sees it as a one-to-one trade of we do this and people are in danger. I think he might see it as a possibility and he might maybe be more okay with it than we are, but I don't think that he necessarily like has our danger in his mind or as a best interest for himself or a goal. I don't know.
I had a moment in the forest with him before we went out to Beyond's flute. And I told him that he had a Kanga complex.
Oh.
And it every single time I think that he resolves it and he's surpassed that limiting belief that I have of him. He takes the 3 steps back and he wants to shoulder all the responsibility.
Maybe he feels as the champion of Aurora he has to. To be that entangled with a god is something complicated.
Under the pretense that it isn't a complicated relationship to begin with.
Well, right, even without his own backstory on how he's navigated their relationship in the past, the simple fact that he is that person is already quite a interesting situation, I guess.
The deal thing's just worrying. I mean, he already has one pocket deal with Aurora. Wanted to do some sort of dealings with Vibrancy and Glute, and now that further that you're talking about with the Winter Queen, I had a passing thought, which was really intrusive to shut it down, but I'm kind of glad it didn't go that direction.
Do you mind sharing, or you feel like it's not worth it?
I can share it, sure. And Zedri will go ahead and put out his hand, and he'll go ahead and start speaking in Infernal again. And it's like a chanting. And as he says that, there's like a needle that appears in his fingers. It kind of looks like the one that he uses for acupuncture, but it's like made out of pure raw magic. And it's a like white hot flame with like peaks of blue. We were talking about magics that can change people's minds. And there's a spell that I have access to for that.
And what are you proposing, Cedric?
It it wasn't even a proposal. I was just gonna act on the impulse, but I didn't. Silenus conceded.
You were gonna subdue him? And then, or change his mind?
More like put in one of those limiters so that he didn't go past that.
You're gonna see Alfred take a big sigh.
He'll shake his hand and it'll just kind of like flake off into the winter air.
Cedric, I know that sometimes it's hard to wrangle into whatever Silenus is, but we can't be like that.
You know what almost put me over the edge for all of it? Is the fact that he's casted a spell on me before. And so I thought that it was almost warranted and it would create some sort of equivalency. So he wouldn't really be able to contest it because I could just rely on the fact that he tried to cast magic on me before. It's very small of me in retrospect, and I'm glad the hindsight didn't go in the other direction.
Yeah, it's not what my memory of you is, and I wouldn't want that to be.
I mean, it would be nice to keep the memories of the aloof Alfred that boarded the Painted Eye, but I'd say that with all that we've been through, we've learned a lot about each other, and honestly, where we're at now is kind of crazy as a group. I mean, we're traveling an entire continent with Jeffrey's father.
Alfred will give a laugh. Yeah, you don't have to tell me. It's been quite the journey. I never thought that I would end up here either. I'm quite frankly freezing my ass off, and it's not the best situation. But I don't know, life is funny that way, isn't it?
It is.
But I think the thing that's kept us all together is that we trust each other, don't we?
Trust? I mean, when I laid my head down, I can't deny that there was a small part of me that believed that Silenus might just drop the hut and head down to that altar himself. But I'm sure Kiesel took some sense into him.
Well, I think Silenus is smart enough at least to understand that if he drops the hut, then everybody wakes up to bitter cold.
Smart enough to know better, impulsive enough to do worse. You're curious? I don't know exactly what the motivator there is.
Sorry, I'm curious. I didn't hear that part.
I was wondering if Silenus was curious rather than impulsive.
Hmm.
I'm just still trying to figure out what the intentions of everybody are, even after all of this time. But like I said during our last watch, though at first apprehensively, you don't feel like somebody that I have to check intentions for.
I try not to cause problems. Try not to make anyone worry.
Sorry that the problem sometimes finds you, though it is beyond both of our controls.
Well, we're quite far enough away from water that I think that most of my problems are easily dealt with.
Cedric will produce flame and hold it to the snow, and then like pick it up in his hand. I mean, very wishful thinking, but and then he'll drop it, and there's probably like a small freeze on the palm of his hand that he'll just crack off.
Oh, I don't think I have to worry about drowning in this water, at least.
Fair enough. But all seems clear in the canyon front. I don't know if you want to check on the mounts with me, and then maybe we could just spend the rest of the watch in the hut.
Honestly, I prefer that. It's, as I said, I'm desperate to get out of this cold. Even if I can't get out of this country.
The cold does well to quiet my fiery anger, so I'm glad I'm not throwing punches at anybody.
Right, please don't.
No,
I don't think that'd be good for anyone's health right now.
I studied more of an open palm style in the Monkin ways, but that's for another time. And Zidri will like step to the edge of the hut, and he will gesture his arm so it goes through the hut, like he's ushering Alfred through.
Alfred will step through, go towards the mounts and begin taking care of them, getting them a little water ration. And then I guess we'll finish off our watch that way.
Okay. Which shifts to Torsten and Jofridir. Torsten, you want to give me a perception with advantage?
Will do.
Keep your watch. You're grunting to each other as things stay pretty quiet throughout the evening. You actually get to the point where you can start to see sunrise quite a bit earlier than the end of your watch. There's still about another hour of your watch left when the sun starts coming up, because we started quite late on our night's watch. But towards the tail end of your watch, as Jofridir fiddles with a dagger in his hand, and you do your best to keep your eyes looking out and your ears attuned to any movement, catch a wavering, very hard to see image off in the darkness of the cave. But despite its mistiness and etherealness, very much recognize the form of your other son. And he looks to you, turns and starts walking into the cave. The only thing you really make out about him that's out of the ordinary other than the general etherealness of his image. And you're seeing a dead person, just in general, a little bit off.
Yeah, that's always a little weird.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah.
Little bit frozen in nature. But he disappears off into the darkness of the deep, dark cave.
I checked to see if Yofredil also saw him.
Doesn't appear to.
I go about the rest of my watch.
Okay. Past the rest of your watch. No activity. Everything seems quiet and safe. There's been no arrivals from either side. And eventually, the hut drops and everybody gets their nice morning alarm clock of it's bitter ass cold again. You look out onto a good couple feet of snow has moved into the very end of the cave just beyond the hut. That it has definitely continued to not be pleasant outside. It continues to be cold inside. You all are prompted by the coldness to wake for the morning. Anything that anybody... what do you do as the morning starts?
Lornan's going to, like, once she kind of, like, wakes herself up, she's going to step out of the cave and see if she can spot Navara at all.
Give me perception.
Since the daybreak has come, I don't know if I
Wow!
missed
Whew, back-to-back nat ones.
did the snowstorm
Oh.
stop? Ouch.
Ugh.
What was your question, Alfred?
I was asking, I don't know if I missed it. I don't know if the snowstorm stopped.
No.
No. Okay.
It has built up more and more snow outside. And Lonan, no sign of anything outside. Visibility is for shit at this point.
Mm-hmm. Comes back in, rubbing her eyes.
How high is the snow piling? Like up to our height?
Outside, it's about 6 foot deep. Right at the entrance, it kind of wavers a little bit as it's blown in. So there's about a foot of snow, foot to 2 foot, kind of just sloping in towards where the hut was. And when the hut drops, it just nicely just floats down and fills the void.
Oh, so everybody inside the hut on that side gets a nice little wake up.
Yeah, anybody who's sleeping towards entrance side, got a nice little blanket of snow when the hut dropped.
I think Silenus would have made himself an alarm clock that way. So he would be up right away in the morning. I think he underestimated what getting drenched with snow in the morning would feel like.
Yeah, Alfred's waking up and as he's like sitting up, he sees that Silenus is already up and he's like, "Oh, did I oversleep?"
You see Silenus pushing his way out of a pile of snow.
Are you okay? He'll start like
I would've-
producing a little flame.
In a second, oh, that was a mistake. Yeah. Not appreciatingly and drying himself off and getting dressed in his layers of outerwear.
Did you jump into the snow?
No, when the hut dropped, it just fell into the cave.
So she's gonna look over everybody. I'm gonna go ahead and check outside real quick, just to make sure that there's not anything to the left or right of us. And he's gonna like swim his way out as much as possible, like very carefully treading upon.
I hope you have a better time than I did.
I'll try my best, but snow isn't really my strong suit.
Oh.
Yep, residual. Get out, walk a little bit of a ways. Is there anything coming up or down? Any wild wildebeests? Any small lion cubs? Okay, perception. Yeah.
You see 12 small lion beasts.
Best of both worlds.
With 21, the only thing you notice out is just for the briefest moment, you see a flash of blue light off, best guess at least 500 to 1,000 feet away, probably. Really hard to gauge because it's just a bright light that shines through the snow.
Further in or further back where we came from?
Yeah, back out into the valley.
Okay.
Straight south of where you guys are at.
Okay. Yeah. Zidra's just gonna, even through all of this, conjures little red flame, give a prayer to Infernus, and then he's going to funnel into the flame a little bit more as it starts to shift color. He's gonna make it a pure white flame, and he'll even take some of the packaging from the Magarovda rations, since it was salted jerky, and he'll toss some of those in so that it turns the flame white. And he's just going to whisper into it, Aurora, I'm really sorry. This is the best I can do since the daylight's not really out. But please, please, please keep Silenus safe through all of this. And then he'll go ahead and squelch the flame, because there's no god of blue flames, before heading back inside. Saw a flash of light is back out into the valley, maybe 1,000 feet, but a promise is a promise. And Zidra will look at Silenus. If you really feel like we're gonna find something down there, then far be it from me.
I mean, what is hurting us from checking?
Literally people kidnapped, but you know what? It's fine.
If I will take responsibility if the 15 to 20 minutes we take to go deeper into the cave end up mattering.
Glad you're taking responsibility for your actions. Zidra will hike up the bag of holding and he will trot into the cave.
Everybody following along?
Happily.
Mounts going with you or staying here at the front of the cave?
From what we recon, did we see any change in the height or depth or dimensions of the cave, I guess?
During your portion, no. For brevity, Galfrank did not see any significant change in the width or height of the chamber.
Was there an exit on the chamber that Galfrank saw? Out from
No.
different from when he came in? I mean,
Nope.
we're likely gonna have to come back up here. Unless you think there's some way that we'll get transported somewhere again.
I mean,
I don't think so.
I don't think there's any harm in taking them, though.
I'll just say this, if we're going round trip, then your 15 to 20 minute estimation becomes 30 to 40 minutes.
Silver, how long did it take Galfrank to get to the end of the cave?
It's less than 500 feet.
Yeah, he was estimating 20 to 30 minutes round trip.
Does he say that?
So yeah, Silenus will say, it's probably only like 500 feet away. We would still be within yelling distance of the mounts, even if we left them here.
Right, but I'm sure there's some sort of riddle or puzzle that we're gonna have to solve. Shoot, just honestly make it an hour at this point.
Well, if you think it's going to take that long, let's go.
Before we go, I go over to the reindeer. I sort of like bring them into like a huddle, and I'm just like, okay, just make sure the horses are safe. We're going to go check what's going on down in the deepest part of the cave. They're intelligent. I know what's up.
Citri's going to use a level 1 spell slot to cast Speak with Animals, just over her shoulder on the way out. Do your best to go ahead and stay where you are. Don't run off or get spooked, and I will find you the best grass ever.
You get a whinny out of one of the horses.
Wait, when you
Best.
speak with animals, do you sound like you're speaking the noise the animal makes, or do you speak the...
I think that there's a lot of investment on how Citri speaks with animals. If it's like barking at Cybil, he doesn't have that dog in him in that way. I would say it's probably more so like, almost like, it feels like it's almost out of pitch, like any sort of verbal range that people could hear.
I think, yeah, I was going to say the question is like, do I hear you say that? If I don't, then it's fine.
I would say no, you wouldn't understand what he said, because he's getting the ability to speak with animals, not them getting the ability to understand humans.
But he's calling back. There's probably some sounds.
You'd hear him making sound,
Yeah.
but what he's saying you wouldn't know.
Can't call him out on the BS about grass. There's 18 feet of snow.
Girl, I have plant growth. What are we talking about? I'm a druid.
Oh my god, you should have been using
But
the
you're not that
language.
kind of druid.
Excuse you. Unfortunately, I'm forced to be that kind of druid because plant growth's on my freaking prepared spells list. So I have to be womp womp.
Flammable. On-demand
All right.
flammable.
Leaving the mounts behind, you head back into the cave, following the passage as it winds back and forth, twisting unpredictably, as if it's not a natural occurrence that this cave is there, as if that was a question at this point. Dry, stale air, faint scent of earth, age. You are all able to see the significant number of footprints and the sled tracks crisscrossing across the path as it goes, as well as quite a bit of debris, scattered stones, discarded remnants, unidentifiable rubble throughout the cave. There's a central kind of like channel that's kept clear, but along the sides there's quite a bit of debris. And the further you go, the colder it gets, until you finally reach the end of the winding path as it opens into this vast round chamber. Your breath lingers on the frigid air. You take in this grand space worn by time with 11 stone columns encircling the perimeter, some leaning precariously, others partially crumbled, broken remains scattered across the floor. And despite the chamber's collapse in places, its ancient craftsmanship remains very evident. Each column is a masterpiece of dwarven artistry, carved into the likeness of bowed dwarves out in a prostrate position, hands stretched out in front of them. The columns then build out of their backs, going straight up into the ceiling. Solemn faces etched with reverence, all turned towards where their hands are pointing, which is the center of the chamber. But on the opposite side, where you are coming out of the cave, You also see two of the columns that nestled in between them is this massive circular arrangement of stone panels that is embedded into the wall. Each panel adorned with intricate dwarven script, letters chiseled with precision despite the passage of time. Very remarkable stonework. Too perfect to be merely decorative, as the air just kind of hums with the weight of something ancient, something waiting here, as if very walls are holding their breath for what you're about to do. Next week, as that is where we will wrap things up for tonight. So, with that, we're running pretty long, so we're gonna wrap things up. Video on demand, people. Thanks for watching. Come watch live next week. Promise more, party standoffs, and who was right? We'll figure that part out. Maybe. But yeah, come back next week. And thanks to everybody that watched live tonight. You could be one of those people, on demand people. But we'll see you next week, VOD individuals.
Goodbye.